All right, rock stars, this episode is brought to us in part by the amazing Salt Stick. You can hydrate all you want during your training, your racing, throughout the rest of the day to catch up on your fluids. But if your water does not have enough electrolytes in it, it's pretty much useless. It'll just run right through you. You got to make your water stick to you with Salt Stick. Check this out. Athletes that took Salt Stick finished a half Ironman race in an average of 26 minutes faster than the control group. In a study, research took a bunch of triathletes and gave half of them Salt Stick capsules and the other half just sports drinks. The athletes that took the Salt Stick capsules finished a 70.3, that's a half Ironman, race in an average of 26 minutes faster than the control groups. That's because it allows you to stay hydrated. It makes your water stick. You can make your water stick with Salt Stick by getting 25% off your order with discount code ZenTri25 on the website shopsaltstick.com. Now, that's only in the United States, but you can find Salt Stick in 30 countries via the website saltstick.com and using our store locator available from the top menu. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the show. Here we go.
You are listening to Zen and the Art of Triathlon.
Well, hey there, all you triathlon freaks and geeks, and welcome to another great episode of Zen and the Art of Triathlon, the podcast where we improve ourselves through endurance and learn a little bit of Zen along the way. All right, this show is kick butt because we have a return guest. This is one of my favorite guests because he gets it done on such a high level and also tells us how he does it. It is Rob Gray. Rob Gray won overall at Ironman or Ultraman, which is a 3-day triathlon. He won Ultraman Florida last fall, and then he turned around and, well, it was a fall ago, over a year ago, and then he turned around and trained all year round and focused specifically on competing in the Ultraman World Championships in Hawaii, which is 3 days around the big island in Hawaii. And he got second. He got runner-up. He got passed on the run at the very end. But it is just an amazing accomplishment. He's a age grouper triathlete, just all around kick butt, really smart guy, and very analytical, and details exactly how he did it. And we're going to talk about how he trained, how he fueled, how he paced himself, how he raced, and all these questions that I ask. I love asking these very successful athletes these questions because this is stuff I ask it in a way where you can take what they say and use it yourself, bits and pieces of it. And we'll get to that, for example, in the news story about Terenzo Bozzoni here in a minute too. But it's an hour-long episode about this stuff, and it's just fascinating how he did it, and it gives you ideas of like triathlon is, because it's a mix of 3 different sports, and you can only be truly exceptional in like one sport, maybe 2, but not really. Triathlon is not a sport where it's the most gifted person that wins. It's the person that successful people that get all the way up to being, front of the pack, professionals, champions in the sport are the people that just train the most consistently. And, they'll be an exceptional swimmer, but that doesn't really help you. They'll be an exceptional biker. Well, that doesn't really help you. They'll be an exceptional runner. Well, that's great, but you're usually not very gifted in the swim. You're exhausted by the time you get to the run anyway. So it goes on and on like this. So it's the person that's the most successful in even consistent training and does the fewest things to screw up his or her race and training that actually does the best. It comes down to fueling and hydration and consistency and smart training, and the person that does that the best is actually will be the most successful on race day and just have the best long-term career in this stuff. And the point of that is that you listening right now, you could be exceptional at triathlon if you just do the right stuff. And that's why we have people like Rob Gray on the show. Truly exceptional athlete and very open about how he trains. He's also a coach, which is really kick butt, and details nutrition and training plans and stuff. So I'm super excited to have him on the show. Boy, that was a long intro for Rob Gray. Just what a big fan I am of him. And let's see, we've got him, and we have some triathlon news, and then I go into the training log a little bit about veganism and fasting and some other stuff that I've been experimenting with lately, and we talk about all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get started at the front with some triathlon news. Here we go. All right, the biggest news story going on right now is at the beginning of December, pro triathlete Lorenzo Bazzoni, and it's spelled Bazzone, Bozzone, but if you're in the know, you say Bazzoni. Anyway, he's from New Zealand. It's an Italian name, obviously, but he's from New Zealand, and he is a phenomenal triathlete. I think he's a world champion at the half Ironman distance, but for 8 years or so, he's been trying to be successful at the full Ironman distance and has had trouble here and there, never really knocking it out of the park, maybe finishing on the podium, but never even winning one of the smaller ones or, none of that stuff. And then he turned around and won Ironman Western Australia. Not only won it, broke the course record, beat Andy Potts, went 7:51, 7:51 in a full Ironman, and finally had his breakthrough performance of winning a full Ironman. And this is really great. Lorenzo Bazzoni is he's an all-around super cool guy. He's been on the Rich Roll podcast. Very mellow, down to earth. I was actually in a race that he was in a long time ago, and really enjoyed being around him. He's a super cool guy, and to see him actually have this breakthrough performance is fantastic. Everybody's been rooting for him for a long time to finally figure this out. The key is, how did he do it? And this is where we can all learn something. He said that in Kona, in October, the World Championships, what happened to him is what's been happening to him a lot of times is he bloated up and started swelling, and then had to drop out on the run, and just had just a bad day. And it was really disappointing because he spent all summer training, and he has a wife and at least one kid, and that's a real bummer, taking all that time away from his family and then having a crappy race in front of the world. And he, after that race, I think he finally had enough and sat down and tried to figure out with some other people what was going on. And they said the bloating is caused by sodium. What the sodium does, too much sodium. They figured out he was probably taking in twice as much sodium as he should have been. And I never got the number, how much it is. That'd be interesting. People can tweet at him and ask him how much he was taking and how much he's taking now. And what that does, this is really interesting. What that does, yeah, it hydrates you. Too much sodium, well, sodium hydrates you. But if you take too much, what it does is it keeps the sodium in your bloodstream, it keeps the water, because water likes to stick with salt. It keeps the water in your bloodstream and in your body, like your skin and everything, and not going to your muscles, where it should be going. Maybe it keeps it in your stomach or whatever, but it kind of prevents the hydration from going to where it's supposed to go because it's too busy hanging out and partying with all the salt. And that ends up being a problem. So that both your water and your hydration and your fuel can't go to where you need it to go because the water is stuck with the salt. And that's what happens when you take too much sodium. I did not know that's actually the end result of taking too much sodium. That's really interesting. So we all need to know that and can use that in future races. Like, how do you figure out how much sodium you should take? I don't know. I guess there's some tests you can take. I'm going to start looking into that. I thought that was really interesting. And so once he figured that out, he went and did Ironman Western Australia. He cut his sodium in half, did Ironman Western Australia. First place, broke the course record, 7:55. Unbelievable. He beat Luke McKenzie's record that Luke set just last year. So that's pretty crazy. All right. That's all the major news in the world of triathlon. It's kind of slow going right now because we're in the winter. And the only thing where things are going on, the only place where things are going on in the southern hemisphere, like Australia, with that Ironman Western Australia. But also, I wanted to mention, let's see, I have been getting into making smoothies, green smoothies again, and it's really nice. Quite a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, 5 years ago now, I went raw vegan for a year. And I don't recommend that. I learned that you should eat cooked food. At first, you feel awesome, but then after a while, you stop getting in enough calories. I was raw vegan-ish. I still ate a little bit of cooked food, but not enough. And then I think that's what started giving me teeth problems. There's a lot of raw vegans you see on the internet, and then they kind of disappear off of YouTube after a while, after their teeth start falling out, the cavities. Maybe there's something in cooked food that helps strengthen your teeth. I started getting, my teeth didn't start falling out, but I started getting like little tiny cavities kind of here and there. And I was like, something's up with this. And I started running out of energy. But I was super duper vegan for almost a year. And that was the same year that I did so well in a race. They had qualifier spots for Alcatraz. I got second overall, second in my age group in a huge triathlon that had Alcatraz spot. So I qualified for Alcatraz. I guess earlier just a couple months before that, I ran 100 miles, 100-mile trail race and finished. I didn't bonk until mile 92. And then I also, this was 2011, I also swam Alcatraz, which was really cool. And then later that summer, I swam 22 miles across south to north, across Lake Tahoe, and all this stuff all in 1 year. And then at the end of the year, I was just tired, like all the time, and probably for being raw vegan, which is not the same as regular vegan whatsoever. But now let's fast forward. There's a point behind all this. Over the past year, my plantar fasciitis got so bad that now I need to not run and bike as much, and my weight is creeping up, and it's getting really annoying. And also, I've just never really been comfortable with all the meat and fat and stuff like that. It just doesn't seem all that healthy. And so I decided, well, I'm gonna try going vegan again, but of course, do cooked food like potatoes, right? Baked potatoes, and I don't know, just whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. It can be cooked, to a billion degrees. I don't care. And it turns out when you cook food, that releases other nutrition that you need, obviously. And if you eat just raw veggies and raw fruit, stuff like that all the time, you're missing out on a lot of stuff that gets released when you actually cook food. Yeah, it kills some vitamins and minerals and stuff to cook it, but it also activates a whole bunch more that over millennia humans have evolved to need and use, and therefore because we use it a lot through evolution, we tend to need it, and that's duh. So back to the point of the story with smoothies is I know for a fact that if I make green smoothies that I lose weight. So I was like, man, I'm going to go vegan again and just try that for a while. And also a big part of that is, well, actually, I think I decided to start making green smoothies first, and I started feeling so good that I said, you know what, I think I just might go vegan again. And it's so interesting that having done something once, the casualness of going back around and doing it again is so awesome because I'm not trying to figure out everything for the first time. I wish I could make sense in a way to explain to people that are interested in going vegan about tell them to just relax. Don't make it such a big deal. If like we were having brownies around Christmas, and I said, is there eggs in this? And Emily said, oh, yeah. And I go, well, whatever. It's a mistake. Who cares? And I was eating some mashed potatoes the other day and some spinach. And then I realized halfway through there was some butter in there. And I was like, oh, well. It's just like, oh, and I made a bowl of cereal the other day. And I realized after I got done pouring the milk, I use coconut milk like all the time on everything. That the milk I just used was regular whole milk that, cow's milk that Emily and Kai use. And I was like, oh, well. And I just ate that. I'm not going to throw the cereal out, right? And just the casualness of it and being, so I would say like for the past 2 weeks or so, I've been mostly vegan because no meat that I can think of, but dairy and egg have managed to slip in a few times, once every couple days, and I just don't care because it's so minimal that it doesn't really bother me, and I'll get better at it as I go along. And I think that's a really good lesson, is to don't make it such a big deal, and you just get better at it as you go along, and just work on the little things. And it takes time for you to adjust, and it takes time for your family to adjust. I had dinner with Emily tonight, and Kai is gone off at triathlon training camp for 3 days. So Emily and I went out to dinner, and I met her, and she had already ordered the appetizer, and it was calamari, and which is squid. And when I showed up, she goes, "Oh crud! I already ordered calamari," and but because I haven't been a jerk about any of this and, been like, you're wrong or whatever, I just said, oh, okay, well, and then Emily on her own said, the waitress walked by and she goes, hey, can I change my appetizer order? I forgot. He's not eating meat right now. And the waitress goes, oh, yeah, that's no problem. What about this hummus stuff? And I go, yeah, that'd be cool. And then it was just no big deal. No big deal, And if the calamari was delivered as calamari, the appetizer was delivered as calamari, I would have been just like, oh, well, I'm just not going to eat that. And just not make a big deal out of it. So to the smoothie thing, this is really interesting because this is also the Zen topic of the podcast that I want to cover for this episode, is systems and making something your own. So there is something about when you make something into a system, all of a sudden it goes from being work, something that you don't want to do, and something you want to procrastinate against. And the big thing I'm always talking about this for is like being organized and getting your workouts done. It always seems like so much work. And people that listen to the show for a long time know this show is half about just getting things done, how to get things done. But if you make a system out of something, all of a sudden you take now it's yours, and you got a little bit of ownership in it, and you want to see it succeed, and now you're kind of emotionally invested and involved in it succeeding because it's your system that you did. And also, when a system works psychologically, in the back of your mind, you're right, and you love being right. We all love being right. Right? And if you prove that you're right by your system working, then it feels good, and then now it's no longer work. And then the other thing is with the system is many steps. It's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps of things. And then you want to see it start, and then you want to see the pieces kind of flow as they go and work in synchronicity, kind of like music moving from one movement to another, to another, to another. And when the system works, you like watching it work, but you're involved in it, so you're making it work, and that's how things. How you can change something that you don't want to do, like getting up in the morning to go work out. If you develop a system of how you get it done and how you get started, actually, then all of a sudden it's way easier. So let me give you an example. The most primitive version of it is a system of a farmer having, in the fall, I grow this crop over here, and while this field lays fallow, I don't know what the word is, but then and then when this crop, we pick everything off this crop, then we thresh it, and then we put it over in these fields, and then we let the sheep go over here, and they eat the leftover parts, and they fertilize with their poop. And then over here we grow this crop, because when this crop grows, it ends up fertilizing the ground, like clover, I think, is like that. I don't know, but it puts nitrogen back in the ground. It fixes nitrogen back into the ground. Maybe peanuts do that too, or whatever. And then when we grow after that, when we pick all that, the next crop we grow will grow even better, and that's our cash crop. So that'll grow better. So you got a system, and you're doing things, and every time that it works, you're right. So when I was doing, what made me think about talking about in this podcast is I don't like unloading the dishwasher, but then today I was unloading the dishwasher, and I kind of turned things into a system, and it was fun. The flow of first I do the silverware, right? And while the silverware, I'm doing that, I kind of eyeball the other stuff, and in my mind, I'm eyeballing where these like random the things that keep you from wanting to do things is randomness. And I'm like, so while I'm doing the silverware, I'm looking at these random pots and pans, and I'm like, where do they go? And by the time I'm done with the silverware, I've got in my mind where to put the other things. And then once I put the random big things in places where they should go, spatulas and whatever, then I go, all right, now I can wrap up with the easy thing, which is the glasses. Put those are easy to put where they want to go. And then I close the dishwasher, and then I flip the thing on the front that says clean the dirty. That means dirty, means it's ready to be loaded again by whoever else. And I've got my little system. And when I get up in the morning to go work out, I've got my system. First, I have a cup of coffee, then I do this, and then I do that, and then I get this, and I put it by the door, and then I go find this, and I put this by here, and I go there, and I have my little system, and then I go grab my shirt, and this, and I got everything all set up, and it's a system, and it just works. And then with the green smoothie, I figured out a system that I really like. Is I use blueberries in my green smoothie, and it turns my green smoothie. Oh, and I measure the blueberries in the top of the Vitamix blender. It has a lid on it. I turn it upside down. I do the blueberries first. And when I put frozen blueberries are the best. When I measure them out in that top, I'm involved now, right? And not that many people put blueberries in their smoothie, and guess what blueberries do? They make the smoothie, and hemp powder too, which is kind of unusual, but it's the highest plant, it's the plant protein with the highest amount of protein in it. So blueberries turn the green smoothie blue. And now it's no longer a green smoothie. It's a blue smoothie. And I'm like, I don't drink green smoothies. I drink blue smoothies, which is a little psychological trick I'm playing. I own it now. It's my system, and then I own it. And now I'm invested. And now I enjoy making, And now I enjoy making them. And now you have to kind of try to stop me from making them. So you can use this kind of technique whenever you're trying to get your stuff done. And then once you get involved with the system, Scott Adam from Dilbert fame says this: do not try to do things. Build systems instead, and then let the systems do things, and then enjoy watching the systems. Right? I have a system for filling Hornet juice orders. When people send an email in for Hornet juice, I sit down, I have a filter in my email that brings out just the Hornet juice. I open up 3 different tabs, and I have this tab that does this, and that tab that does that, and that tab that does that. I have some copy and paste that goes on where I go back and forth between the different things, and it's a system, and then I enjoy it, and I play downbeat music while I do it. So I'm just into the system, and I'm doing it, and then it's done, and when I'm done and I finish, guess what? I feel good, and I feel like I'm right because the system works. It's really cool. So if you can do this kind of stuff for your own stuff, for getting your workouts in, because like I was saying earlier, it's all about consistency and getting it done. Then you have your system. My system for going swimming is I have a swim bag, a large Speedo swim bag that's mesh. All the stuff goes in there, and then all the swim toys, which we'll talk about later in the show. And I go to the pool, I get a top locker with an odd number, that way it's up high because I'm tall, and a lower locker just drives me crazy. And they know my system. They're like, odd number locker? I go, yep. And I go and I get my swim stuff on, I take the bag out to the pool, I hop in, I start swimming, and then I got my toys, and it makes the swim workout go by, which I talk about later in the show, super fast because of different toys, which is another psychological trick on yourself. Variety makes time go by faster, and the pool can be really boring. And then I get out, and I take my bag and everything right to the gang showers, and I set it on the bench on the side of the gang showers. And in my swim bag is also my shampoo, the anti-chlorine shampoo, and the conditioner. And I shower and get all the chlorine off and clean up, and then I go to my locker, open it up with my locker key, and that saves time, not going to my locker first to get stuff out. The stuff is already in my swim bag. Now see, I'm right? That feels good. I'm right. I'm saving time, I think, because I think I am. And every time I do it, I think I'm right. It feels good that I have my own little system that seems to work. Whether it does or not is irrelevant. It's just that it feels like it works. That is important. And I go back to my locker, open it up, and then I put on, my deodorant and my work clothes and stuff like that. And then I pack up all my stuff, walk out the front, hand them the key to my locker. They hand me back the key to my car, and because that's what you have to trade to get a locker key. You should. And then I go to my car, and I'm done. I'm done, just like that. And it's just like clockwork. No drama, no whatever, and it's a system. And I enjoy watching the system work. So you can come up with these same kind of systems for your swim, bike, and run yourself, depending on your own situation. All right, that was a whole lot of Zen flow and also how to get stuff done. All right, and fasting and veganism, which we'll talk about more in towards the end of the show. All right, so that's enough about my crazy life. We do more of that after the interview with the training log. I take you with me out training, so we don't need to do any more of that now. What we do want to do now is talk with Mr. Rob Gray about second place at Ultraman World Championships in Kona, Hawaii. And I should mention before we get into the interview that two things. One is that, because I never really talk about it in the show, day one is a 10K swim, 6.2 mile open ocean swim, kind of along the coastline of the west side of the Big Island around Hawaii. And then a 90-mile bike ride going east around the southern side of Hawaii, and it finishes at the uphill, majorly uphill. It's just a climb, like pretty much all day. And so that's a 90-something mile bike ride. Day two is a 170-ish mile bike ride, and that's what they do. Day two, they add your times together each day, and you get to rest and recover overnight. And then day three is a double marathon. The day two bike ride wraps around most of the edge of the island of Hawaii, almost back to the beginning again, where you started. And then the day three marathon. Day three is a double marathon. from where they finished on the bike on day 2 to where they started on the swim on day 1. So it's a circumnavigation is what they call it, around the big island of Hawaii. It's super cool that it's a point-to-point race that also finishes in the same spot because it makes a big loop. That's very neat. And the second thing is, if you want to learn more about Rob Gray before we even finish the interview, because we talk like an hour or so, is that you can go find him on robgray.org, robgray.org. I think he's from South Africa originally. That's where his accent is from. And he did blog posts about each day at Ultraman, so you can go check that out. And you know what? Actually, a third thing is at the very end of the interview, I asked him if this is one of my favorite moments in all the interviews I've ever done. Is you have these moments on occasion every so often where there's a real something that you'll never forget. Is when I asked him, does he feel like that this is his thing, that he's gonna, go back next year and try to win the full thing again? Is this something he's going to be focused on? He's really successful at doing full Ironmans. He's qualified for Kona a bunch, I think, and so he's reached the peak in that. So is this going to be his focus for a while? Instead, doing Ultraman instead, and he said, I think there was a pause, and then he said, yes, definitely. And you can just tell, like, the smile in his voice, the happiness and the fulfillment. This is something that it's so cool to be talking with somebody about something that they're good at and something they enjoy and something that's still a challenge, right? He hasn't won it, and even if you did win it, you could lose it again next year, and the conditions are always different. It's very tough. It's a 3-day event. And it's not like a 5K. So there's always, the work you have to do to make it happen. But just the fulfillment, self-fulfillment in his voice and the happiness that he's doing something that he really, really enjoys made me feel really happy inside. I loved that, and I'll never forget that. And I think that's a point when you find something in your own endurance sports, in your own life, doing your own job, whatever. When you get to that point where you're engaged in a battle against something and you like it, that's where we all want to be, and he's there. And it was a real honor to discover that at the end of the interview. And so listen for that at the end. I love it. All right, let's go ahead and get started with Mr. Rob Gray. Here we go.
Welcome to the next level.
Hey Brett, how you doing?
Good, Rob. How are you feeling?
Yeah, still pretty sore actually, but other than that, pretty good.
God, I was hoping so. If you said that you weren't sore, I was thinking that you're not human or something.
No, man, very, very much human. It was, usually after something like an Ironman, I'm sore for 2 days. Third day starts getting a bit better.
You're right.
Man, this time around it was, the run was on the Sunday, and I think the next Saturday was the first time I could actually walk down a flight of stairs without assistance or holding on the banister. It was, and it's still pretty sore. Like I can at least walk now, but if I kind of poke my quads, it's still a bit sensitive.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So this is really great. We've got Rob Gray here with us on the call, and I was looking on Skype, and actually you and I talked about 9 months ago after you did Florida, Ultraman Florida, and which you won that, right? You got first place at Florida.
Correct.
And that qualified you for Hawaii, the world champs. And I saw on your, I'm going to link to it, on your blog post, you did a really great, like a 3-page or 4-page write-up on the race in Hawaii. And you said that actually there's a lottery to get into that. But you didn't want to wait on that because you would know if you
Yeah.
get in. That's a lot of training to not know if you're really going to get in or not.
Yeah, so the way it works is there's two options. You can either do another Ultraman, and you can usually get in regardless of your result. So even if you just finish another Ultraman, you got a pretty good chance of actually getting into the one in Hawaii. And then if you haven't done an Ultraman, let's say you've done a bunch of Ironmans and you've got a good resume of other endurance stuff, you can apply on the wait list. And the issue with the wait list is they only tell you in August whether you're going to be racing in November. So it is really taking a big gamble that you may or may not get in. And you really need to start the preparation long before August if you're going to be in good shape to actually execute a good race in November. So I went what I call the safe route in doing the Ultraman Florida as my way into the one in Hawaii.
Right. And what's cool is you show on your blog just a small sample of some of talking about the training, the months and months of training, and I could not believe some of those numbers. The 167 CTL points, and can you tell people what CTL is?
Yeah, so in Training Peaks they have this concept of training stress, which really allows you to be pretty scientific around your training. So they can allocate a training stress score, or TSS, for every workout: run, bike, and swim. And then you basically think of it almost like a stock chart. You get a TSS per day, and your 7-day moving average. So your average of the last 7 days, your total training stress score per day, your TSS per day, is basically the 7-day moving average. That's kind of like your short-term training stress. And then the long-term fitness is like the 42-day moving average. So this is your average training stress per day over 42 days. And that's roughly equivalent with your fitness level. And then the inverse to your 7-day moving average is what they call your training stress balance. And that's almost an indication of your fatigue level. So an extremely negative TSB number, your training stress balance, means that you should probably take some recovery. And what you want is for the 42-day moving average to have this continual upward trend. So 100, to give you an idea of what some of these numbers would be. If you had to ride on your bike an absolute flat-out time trial for 1 hour, that would be about a score of 100 TSS.
Right.
So a score of 167, which is the kind of like the CTL, the 42-day moving average, is equivalent to doing riding for over 1.5 hours a day, as hard as you can ride for an hour. Of course, that's not what I do. There's a lot of very long rides involved in that, and long runs as well. But it's basically the training stress is based on percentage of your threshold effort on the bike and your threshold pace on the run. And similarly on the swim, although I tend to not place too much emphasis on the swim scores, because you can recover pretty quickly from even a pretty high training load on the swim.
Right. Yeah, you posted your graph since, because it's just over time, and it's the blue line with some shading under it, so it kind of looks like a mountain range kind of. And you pointed out that with Ultraman Florida, yours was I think you said something like 120, and then in the 120s, and then you show the growth, some rest, plenty of rest, and then some growth over time. Like you had like a smaller peak and then the big peak towards right before Ultraman. Hawaii, because you need to take a few, like a week or 2 or 3 to start tapering down, so that score starts dropping again as you rest and recover. And I remember I started using this for the first time seriously. It's a feature in Training Peaks. It's so cool because I read Gordo Byrne, who's a legend in Ultraman. He said, I think it had to do with just training for a regular Ironman. He said most Kona qualifiers train around 140.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what we kind of aim for. If someone comes to me and says, "Hey, I want to train enough to be on the the cusp of qualifying for Kona," you kind of want to target around the 140 mark, and of course there's some other things to take into account, but that's a trend we see across different coaches who look at Training Peaks and who use Training Peaks. A lot of it is around that 140 mark where people are in the Kona qualification ballpark.
And I thought it was so cool because I had, this was before Ironman Canada, I had like 6 months and I was already at like 120. And I said, I just need to grow at just this tiny percentage every day and with some breaks mixed in. And so I've actually followed the graph as my training plan, just building up that stress score. And it was wonderful. Like I knew deep down inside that I was training correctly and that I would be capable of completing the race, in a nice time, because I was doing, I was training as somebody that really knows what they're doing. It's training. Yeah, it was really cool. The only thing is you have to have your, it's not your score. You have to have your calibration set correctly. Like you said, your thresholds. So
Yeah, you got to have your threshold set accurately. Mainly for run and bike. I actually, when I'm doing what you just described, like following the graph with training, I tend to just have it's called the Performance Manager chart in Training Peaks, and I just you can select which sports it's taking that score from. So I just choose bike and run and follow that, and I swim as much as I like, basically.
Right.
But it's actually a really good way of doing it, especially once you get to know how your body responds to various data points. Like I know if I get to the fatigue level of minus 65, if I don't take a few days easy, I'm looking for trouble. And every time I go below that, sure enough, a few days later I'll get sick or I start feeling some injuries coming along. So now I know, just based on many years of using this, that for me, that level of negative fatigue is, I kind of know what my limits are, and everyone's different. But by using it over time, you get to know what those points are. And it's a really useful tool.
Okay, so now training for this, you're in, and you've begun your training many months ahead of time, and you made some notes about some unique things that you did. Lots of unique things. 2 things that I picked out. Well, one, you're living in Boulder, which is higher altitude, which is really nice. And you're training through the summer, so that gives you more daylight hours to be out training. And you posted numbers, like the numbers, the volume that you did compared to what you did for Ultraman Hawaii or Florida. And it made me wonder, I mean, obviously you did fantastic at Florida. I mean, you won it. But were you, in a way, I would not say sandbagging, but were you were there just to get your first Ultraman experience and to just complete it, and the fact that it's Florida is like so flat, because you still did just amazingly well, because your numbers are a lot lower, or would you say that maybe you responded better to the lower numbers?
I'm not really a good responder to lower numbers. I basically did what I could. So in the build up to Florida, I did Ironman Arizona in November. So Ultraman Florida is in February. So that was in February this year, 2016.
Right.
I did Ironman Arizona in November 2015. So that was kind of that's a good foundation. So you're reasonably fit. I did okay there at Ironman Arizona. So all I really had to do was do some very Ultraman specific stuff.
Right.
But the kicker is that it was over winter in Boulder. So there's very few days where I could actually go and run outside.
Right.
And for your long runs, I don't know about you, but I'm not the sort of guy that can go and run 30 miles on a treadmill. No way.
No.
So
No.
So my long runs were very limited. I probably had 4 long runs over 25 miles in that sort of 3-month build after Ironman Arizona, mainly due to weather constraints. Likewise for long rides, I had all my rides on the trainer. I had one long ride outside, which was 6 hours, which is Yeah, which is kind of, it's borderline, enough, but not really to have a super solid race at Ultraman.
Right.
So it felt like I did the absolute minimum that I could get away with for Ultraman Florida, but I didn't really have it. It was very difficult to train over the winter, and just due to the better weather conditions over summer, more daylight hours. Obviously, it's warm. It was actually pretty hot here as well, so you get some good heat acclimation.
Right.
I had many rides of 7+ hours. I probably did 4 or 5 rides of over 150 miles. So it's just really significant, the difference in training volume, as well as the training quality that I had, especially on the run. I had several run weeks where I was running over 65 miles a week. I had my biggest run week was 91 miles a week,
Right.
and just a lot more volume than the 45 to 50 miles a week I was doing before Ultraman Florida.
Yeah, so if people want to go look at the volume numbers, because that's always a nice thing to kind of target. Florida, you were doing average 30 miles of running per week.
Yeah.
And then your biggest one was 55. And then your average for Hawaii was 41. And like you said, that big week of 91. And then, yeah, the bike hours. It's just awesome. Did you ever have to go and have somebody pick you up because you were halfway through a bike ride and then you realized you need to cut it short and just somebody come get me because I'm just exhausted?
No, and I purposefully structure my bike ride so that if I do end up in that situation, that I'm actually a long way from home, and it kind of forces me to get back home.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the big Ironman guys. It might have been Scott Molina who used to do this. He used to purposefully go and do a long ride, like 4 hours before sunset, and he would turn around at like 2 hours 10 minutes. So he actually had to negative split his ride to get back before the sun went down.
Oh man!
And that would kind of force him to get the training done. Mm-hmm. And if I do loops close to home, which there's great riding in Boulder, I can go do the Ironman Boulder bike course. But at any given point within that course, I'm like 30 minutes from home. So
Right.
if I feel like I'm ready to stop, I just go home. So what I did, I would do things like I'd wake up and say, hey, I'm going to ride to Wyoming today. So now go out and ride. The day that I did that, I almost got to Wyoming, and then the wind was so bad. It was like these 55 mile per hour winds that was actually blowing me out of the shoulder on the highway. So I figured it's probably better to be alive than say I rode to Wyoming. So about 10 miles before the border, I turned around. But that's kind of like 80 miles into the ride. So I had no option but to ride all the way back home. The shortest distance home was 80 miles. So that meant I had I was definitely in for a 160-mile ride that day.
Wow, that is impressive.
So,
So people go check this out. It's really nice that you documented all these numbers because it gives people an idea. All right, let's take a break from the interview and mention Amrita bars. Oh, I just had one. Where is it? Where's the wrapper? It was the chocolate maca attack. Let's see. Let me go get it right here because they have regular energy bars and then they have their recovery energy bars. Here it is. Oh, Amrita plant-based nutrition chocolate maca, 15 grams of protein in one bar. How about that? I have the high protein ones after I swim. Oh man, it's such good stuff. They have all different kinds of flavors. They are I wouldn't say non-allergenic because that's not the right wording. Hypoallergenic. There's no nuts. They use seeds instead for the protein. So if you have a nut allergy, there's no worries there. They are vegan friendly and no animal products used inside. Gluten-free, dairy-free, peanut-free, soy-free, long time sponsor of the show. Kai was in a soccer game today, drinking out of an Amrita water bottle. Speaking of the other stuff they make, they have all kinds of cool gear, and he scored 2 goals. Now, if you eat Amrita bars, will you score 2 goals in life? Probably. You never know. Got to find out, and you can find out by going to amritahealthfoods.com and using discount code ZEN2016. That's discount code ZEN2016. It's actually a really cool fuel for long rides because it's super easy to digest. And also, here's another thing. They don't freeze. A lot of bars, competition, uses stuff that will actually freeze when it gets cold. As we head into winter, Amrita bars stay soft. You can open one up and plow through it, nice and chewy, and they're date-based. It's really cool. The way I eat Amrita bars when I'm biking along is I open one up, or I'll maybe pre-open one before I get going on the bike. But anyway, I take a bite out of it, like maybe a quarter or a third of the bar in one bite, and then I fold the end of the wrapper back over the rest of the bar, and then I put it on my quad. I stuff it up the front of my bike shorts from the knee side, kind of push it up in there, and it stays flat with my quad right here, right there. And then 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, I just grab it, pull it back out, push the bar forward in the wrapper, boom, another bite, and it keeps your stomach feeling so good, super smooth, super nice. There's cardamom in it, which actually soothes the stomach. So, all right, that's it for Amrita bars. Thank you so much for being a sponsor. Show them some love. Again, discount code 2016, Zen2016 at amritahealthfoods.com. And also they have, like I said, a big store with all kinds of cool gear, shirts, jerseys, water bottles, fun stuff like that. Go check them out. All right, back to the episode. And then, so another thing you did, I want to hear about what this was. You said that you figured out the biggest thing in Ultraman is recovery. It's a 3-day race, and you have 2 evenings after day 1 and day 2, where it makes all the impact in the world on how you're going to do the next day, on how you eat and how much sleep you get. Especially, both of them are just equally as important. And that is really the number one thing. And so you said that you figured out how to eat 1,000 grams of carbs during your recovery period. This is like in your training. You figured this out, which is for people, that's 4,000 calories of carbs after in the evening, like after a big day. And so, did you figured this out at the Boulder the lab, the endurance lab that they have there?
I figured it out at the lab, and I can already see all people who are listening to this and who are following like a low carb, high fat approach. They're having heart attacks right now hearing 1,000 grams of carbs. That is really high, but as a day-to-day lifestyle, I do not recommend this.
Right.
But during this event, you've got to replenish your glycogen stores. So what I did is I worked with the CU Sports Medicine. This is the University of Colorado Sports Medicine. They got an awesome lab here in Boulder, and what we did was we focused on measuring the glycogen levels in my muscles, specifically my quads, my hamstrings and calves, but mainly the quads. And what we were trying to do is simulate race day. So we did a baseline, check the glycogen levels, simulate a race day, check the glycogen levels, and then see what it took to get them back to pretty much fill up the tank by the time the race started the next day.
Right.
So we did all of this testing with the exact timelines based on my projected race time. So I knew each day would take me, let's say, 7 to 8 hours.
Right.
I knew what I'd be fueling with during the race. So I could simulate that, have my glycogen tested, and then I would start a recovery protocol with 50 to 100 grams of carbohydrate per hour, and basically see if I could get it back to full levels by the next morning. And it did take quite a lot. So what I ended up with, the maximum I could actually do, and mainly because I couldn't eat more than this, was 1,000 grams of carbohydrate in that basically 15 to 18 hour window. And my sort of comfortable level would be 600 to 700. That's something that's a lot easier to accomplish. So we tested with both scenarios, so eating 600 versus eating 1,000, and just seeing what the implications of that were. Because even if you imagine fueling like that after day 1, if you're slightly depleted, day 2 is a 170-mile bike ride. That's going to deplete you even further. So you want to be as fully stocked as you can be without overloading your GI system and creating GI distress. So it was basically like a lot of plain food, white rice. I basically made rice pudding out of white rice and condensed milk and some maple syrup and stuff like that. I'd have a lot of that, and then a lot of liquid. So pomegranate juice, tart cherry juice, things like that are pretty high in sugar, but also aid in the recovery. So a lot of it was liquid based, which is a lot easier to get down, and then a lot of it was food based as well, just to get that carbohydrate back. And I think it worked well. I think next time I'd probably aim for just focus a little more on the protein as well, because I did have some protein, but I didn't think I think I could have had a little bit more just to prevent that, just to aid in the muscle rebuilding and muscle recovery as well. And I was kind of so obsessed about getting the carbohydrate back that the protein almost became an afterthought. That I think I could do better with that next time.
Oh, there's I just listened to a great podcast, The Science of Ultra, and it's more about ultra running, but it's PhDs that talk about this last episode about how much protein ultra endurance athletes need to eat, and like how many grams per meal and how many meals per day to recover for big training and big racing. You got to check that out.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Do you remember what they said?
Yeah, they said more than 20 to 25 grams of protein per meal is not absorbed by your body.
Yeah.
So you hit about that, and then 4 meals per day of that.
Yeah.
And it takes a while for it to absorb in your body. Anyway, you have a window that you need to get it in, and it made me think, I should look to see. And I wasn't eating enough protein myself, and so I upped my protein to those numbers, and immediately felt better.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, I do a similar thing in training, which is it's pretty much, it's a little bit less than that, so like 20 grams, and then I have that 4 or 5 times throughout a day, not so like every hour or something like that. So, and I should have had I didn't have that much during the Ultraman, just because I was so full from eating all this carbohydrate. Mm-hmm. And even with that, it was, if you look at the total calorie deficit, I was probably still at a calorie deficit for the day.
Right.
And I think that's where later on in the day, in the evening, it maybe pays to eat a bit more fat and protein as well, just to get those calories in.
So, did you watch what happened to your blood sugar when you were eating that stuff, or just didn't even?
Funny enough, you ask. I did. I actually had a blood glucose monitor with me.
And what happened?
And it doesn't actually go that high. So like a normal resting blood sugar for me is around 78, 80, anywhere from 78 to 85, around about then.
Right.
And after I'd finished, and bear in mind, in the last hour before I'd finished the bike ride on day one, I was also basically taking in pure carbohydrate every 20 minutes or so. So it already should have been pretty highly elevated. Mm-hmm. Then I had my first of the many high carbohydrate snacks, and it went up to about 108, which is high, but it's not that high. I was expecting it to be like 130 or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it was pretty stable around those sort of levels. So,
wow, that's interesting. Okay, so let's go over to race day. I know that's a big jump because there's all the travel you got to get there. You got to get a crew together, like all the stuff which you talk about. Yeah. But on race day itself, the swim, you can wear a wetsuit during the swim, and I think pretty much everybody does. And what was the water temperature? Do you remember?
It must have been, I would guess it was high 70s. So the reason you're allowed to, it wouldn't have been wetsuit legal in a normal triathlon race, but because of the marine life, you could get stung by jellyfish. So for safety, you're allowed to wear a wetsuit.
Right.
It wasn't as warm as when I've swum in Kona in October. It feels a little warmer than it did then. So it was maybe a few degrees colder than that, but very, very mild still. So not cold at all, but it was cool enough to not overheat with wearing a wetsuit, which was the main thing I was worried about. So I didn't go with a full sleeved suit. I went with a sleeveless. A, because I find it more comfortable, and B, because I had concerns about overheating.
Right.
And the guys at Roka were pretty cool. They actually their current sleeveless suit is it's kind of like their mid-range neoprene, and they previously had their top-of-the-range suit in a sleeveless, which they no longer make, and they kind of dug this out of the warehouse and gave that to me. So that was pretty awesome of those guys. Yeah. And so I wore this sleeveless Roka wetsuit, and it was amazing. It was really good, and the sleeveless really helped me with avoiding any sort of fatigue in the shoulders and upper body. So and I also did get stung by some jellyfish. So it did. Yeah. I got stung on my face, so the wetsuit did not help that too much. But the rest of my body was good.
So how do you how long did the jellyfish stings last? Did you notice them for the rest of the race, the next few days, or was it kind of gone after day one?
No, when it happened, it's kind of this big shock because it stung me in the face. So I think getting stung in the face is a little worse than getting stung somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And for me, it just gave me a shot of adrenaline, helped me swim a little faster. So there were other people who got stung and they kind of stopped. And you have a swim escort, so you got a paddler next to you, and they all had the jellyfish lotion or whatever. So they stopped and put the stuff on. But I was, for me, it stung a little bit, but it's nothing worse than getting stung by a bee.
Right.
It kind of goes away after a few minutes. So it was a good boost of energy. And I just kind of used it. I used the pain to help me swim a little harder.
Right.
And it kind of also forced me to tuck my chin a little bit so that the top of my head and my swim cap was going to be the first thing that saw the oncoming water, and my face was actually protected because it was underneath. So it probably got me in a little better of a body position as well, because I was basically looking straight down then. Yeah.
So the on the sleeveless wetsuit, I totally agree with you on that. Like I've gone from sleeved to sleeveless many times in races, and I just do so much better in a sleeveless because my arms get actually tired in a sleeved wetsuit. So yeah. I don't know. They say the sleeved is faster.
Yeah.
I guess because it floats your arms or something like that, but not in my experience at all. I've always done way better in a sleeve. That's really cool for them to dig that one up for you.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
And then let's see. You've got the swim is in the same spot where Ironman Hawaii actually starts. Right?
Yes. Yes, you start. Yeah, you start in exactly that same beach and exactly the same place you start.
But then you got to swim 10K, 6.2 miles along the beach, and you come out in a totally different area, right? And
you basically swim the first part of the Kona Run course. So in the Kona Run, you start at the pier, mm-hmm. and you run down Ali Drive and turn around. You swim to pretty much just a little bit further than where the run turnaround is.
Right. Did you see any cool wildlife or anything scary, like a tiger shark or anything like that?
No. Luckily, I had heard. Actually, my paddler told me about this a tiger shark he'd seen the week before. But
thanks.
Thanks, buddy. But luckily we didn't see anything like that, and it was actually beautiful. So starting off the swim, it's not that deep, so you can see all the marine life, just hundreds of fish, schools of fish, and. Mm-hmm. Just really beautiful until when you get close to the Ironman, where the Ironman turnaround usually is, it gets a lot deeper, and then you go through this patch where it must be 3 or 4 Ks of really deep water. So all you see is this deep blue abyss beneath you and nothing else, and that's where the jellyfish were, and that's all I saw was the jellyfish. And so it started off where I was really appreciating the marine life, and then halfway through I wasn't appreciating it so much because they were stinging me.
Right.
And then as you draw close to the end, it gets pretty shallow, and you're swimming over these beautiful coral reefs. So you kind of end with this beautiful underwater scenery, lots of reef fish, lots of coral, really beautiful, and it's a lot more unspoiled, that part, because there's not as many people there.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, that makes the time go by faster. Although, I mean, like compared to everything else, the swim isn't anywhere near as long, right? So, and you actually surprised yourself. You were in the front. You were winning the swim.
Yeah, which was surprising because there were a lot of swimmers that I felt were better than me on paper, at least. Mm-hmm. And a few of them swim sort of low 50s. Kate Bevilacqua, who's one of the pro women who was in the race, she regularly posts a low 50 Ironman swim, and I was expecting to be maybe even 10 or 15 minutes behind coming out the water, just based on the pedigree of swimmers that were there. And I guess what some athletes are, they have a range of speeds, and they maybe swim a lot faster for an Ironman than they do for a 10K. Mm-hmm. Whereas my pace is pretty much the same, whether I'm swimming a half Ironman or a 10K. I don't really slow down much. So you could think of me as either a slow half Ironman swimmer or a fast 10K swimmer, I guess.
yeah. And so you came out in first, and then you were already getting on your bike when you saw the next person come in, and so it's a 6.2 mile swim, and then about a 90 something mile bike ride.
Yeah, it's 91 mile bike ride.
Yeah, and that was the day where that was the really windy day, right?
Oh yeah, it was crazy. It was like, I don't know, 50 mile per hour winds.
Yeah, you posted a video of Bob Babbitt his mouth is moving, but you can't hear him talking because the wind. And then there's the camera pans across the open ocean at that point. And I guess you didn't have to swim through that kind of stuff, right?
No, the swim was actually pretty calm. And it's amazing what I noticed. My big takeaway from this race, it circumnavigates the whole of the Big Island, and my experience of Kona has been so limited because when I go for the Ironman, it's just you kind of swim back and forth there. You ride up and down the Queen Cane. You don't really see what the real island's about. So the area where you swim is pretty protected, and I would say the conditions were fantastic. It was a pretty fast swim. I would say the currents were neutral, maybe even slightly favorable, at least for the first 7 or 8 Ks. We had a little bit of a head current at the end, but certainly it wasn't very choppy, wasn't too rough. But 50 miles into the bike ride, if you look at the ocean there, it's just crazy. It's just right. White caps everywhere, and I don't even know if it would be possible to swim in that, but it was like a totally different place.
So that bike ride eventually finishes near the top of a volcano, right? So it's pretty much all uphill, or it's undulating and then uphill at the end. So you start. So exiting the swim, you got to climb like a 10-minute climb just to get out of that. So it's a pretty steep climb, and then it's undulating, and then you end with basically, I think it's about 30 miles of uphill to the top of the volcano. So you go from sea level to over 4,000 feet to finish the day one. Is that the same volcano? In the news, there was snow in Hawaii.
I saw that. I'm not sure if it was that. I'm not sure if it was that volcano or the other one, because there's one on the northern side of the island that is higher, and I think that one's probably got snow.
Oh, okay. Which one is that? The one with the observatory? The one on the northern?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and this one has got. It's very wet. A lot of. It's like a tropical rainforest, but it's pretty cold as well. When we started day 2, it was. Probably in the high 40s and raining.
Oh my gosh!
Whereas at the coast it was 85 degrees the day before.
Holy cow! So let's see. You do that bike ride, and let me get back to my notes. I took so many notes, but I don't want to take away from the blog either. I just have a few high points. No disc wheels, which is probably really smart. That's a rule.
Yeah.
And then on the front, you did bring a Zip 808. For people that don't know, that's a really deep dish front wheel, which is super fast. But I had one of those, and I sold it because where I live, it's pretty windy. And the only place that's windier than where I live is Hawaii. And I found that I could ride with it, but I was worried it was going to send me out into oncoming traffic at some point by accident. Yeah. And you switched down to not just a Zip 404, but a Zip 303, which is a really low-profile wheel for racing, right?
Yeah, it's a low-profile wheel, and aerodynamically, it's almost as fast as a 404. Mm-hmm. So over that first day, that 90-mile ride, it would be think if you do the math, it was about 30 seconds slower than a 404.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it's lighter. So given that you end with 30 miles of uphill, plus there was a forecast of winds most of the time after mile 50 were 35, 40 miles an hour plus. I felt that I could make up a lot more than 30 seconds just with the extra confidence in descending, as well as the little bit of weight reduction on the hill, and it was absolutely the right choice.
And you had, I was considering doing this big, like, multi-day race out in California this fall. And
the Uberman?
The Uberman, I was considering it, but the whole thing with, like, I knew for sure I was going to need to bring 2 bikes. Yeah. Because one was definitely, I mean, at some point, you're definitely going to have some major problem, especially if it's the bike you've been training on and all that. I mean, you're going to break something, and you need to get something else under you right now. And so the best way is to have 2 bikes. So you had 2 bikes that were pretty much close to being identical to each other. Yeah, which is really smart, because if I was doing that Uberman, my 2 bikes are different. So you have to kind of train to be on either bike position and make progress. So that was Diamond that was working with you, right? To have a spare bike.
The fortunate thing is that so Diamond, who is actively involved in my Ultraman Florida race, one of my crew there, Chris Blick, he rides exactly the same bike as me. So same size, same aero bar setup, pretty much exactly the same. Yeah. Chris now works at Roca here in Boulder, but he still has the same bike. So he was on my crew still. And he actually raced. Actually, both my crew raced Ironman Arizona a week before Ultraman, and then he flew out straight from Arizona with his with the spare bike. And fortunately, we didn't need it. But I had spare bike, which was Chris's bike. I had my bike, and then I had 2 sets of spare wheels. So Ian, my other crew, he brought his other 808 out for me. So I had 2 808s for the rear, and then an 808 and a 303 for the front. So and the idea is, if you get a flat tire, your crew should be there quick enough just to be able to swap your wheel out quicker than it would take you to actually swap a tube out or something. So that was the idea. If one of my tires failed, I would have the crew swap out wheels for me straight away.
Yeah, and so what people may not know is one of the coolest things about Ultraman looks like that it's old school style racing, where you actually can have your crew with you throughout the race, and you definitely can't draft behind. They can't be near you while you're biking, but you can give them hand signals as you go by, and they can meet you at the next intersection and hand you stuff. So your aid station's really just the next intersection, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a crew. They're not allowed to ride alongside you, so they leapfrog you. So the idea is they should be behind you most of the time, and then when it's time to do a drink handoff, they should overtake you, pull over, get ready, do your drink handoff, and then continue. But absolutely, you don't have any of the constraints of a regular race where you have to wait 10 miles to get another drink. You can drink every 5 miles if you want, or whatever. You just decide with your crew, and you can get your nutrition as often or as seldom as you like, which is huge. It's a really big advantage to have, especially like that final climb where you got 30 miles of climbing. I strategically just had half bottles of liquid then, so that I wasn't carrying an extra pound of weight by having 2 bottles or whatever I would have in a regular race. So just very small amounts, but taken regularly, and they would stop it. I was drinking something every 5 minutes on that climb.
Right, and I was just watching. There's a lot of videos. I was watching a good one on Ram, the Ride Across America, and there was a British guy and his crew, and the last part I watched is they're trying to climb Wolf Creek Pass, which is just brutal. And they're in the van behind them going, all right, he's wobbling. Because they're right. This guy, that race is 24/7 into the night and everything. That was really cool. So, and then Badwater does the same thing, where you can it's that super ultra marathon where people can you're running through Death Valley and then up the mountain, and you've got your crew with you all the time, which is really neat because then you've got a lot of emotional support there while you're doing that.
Yes, but yeah, especially on the run, it's just such a critical thing. It's really useful to have people close by, and not, as you say, not only to give you your food and nutrition, but really just to give you that support and be there and keep you going. Really helps a lot.
Yeah. So day one, you finish in the lead by, I think you said something like 10 minutes or so.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like 9 minutes 58 seconds. It was just under 10 minutes, and Iñaki, who won eventually, he had got to within 3 minutes of me at the bottom of that hill.
Oh yeah.
And I just rode hard up the hill and managed to open up an additional 7 minutes of him on him by the end.
So I got a question on the. You said that you were hoping to get certain wattages on certain portions of the ride, like 240 on this climb and whatever, and you weren't able to. Is that just fatigue from the rate you underestimated, like how tired you would be from fighting the wind the first day, or
it's hard to tell because this was on the first day where I would usually when I go from altitude down to sea level, I get a bump of about 20 to 30 watts for the same perceived effort.
Wow.
And that whole ride felt to me, it felt the same as if I was riding at 5,000 feet in Boulder. So it wasn't what I expected, but it wasn't too bad either. It wasn't like I was totally unable to hit my power numbers. It was just a little bit less than I thought I would hit. And some of it may be to do with the fact that as I exited the swim and got on my bike, I got these pretty severe cramps in my glutes. So my both glutes I wouldn't even call them cramps. They just seized up. So I couldn't really pedal I couldn't even get into aero for about 20 minutes just because it was too painful. And that may have reduced my power output slightly, but it was by no means anything bad. I just didn't have the extra 20 that I would normally expect. Yeah,
that one's puzzling. I know you're in your blog you were trying to sort that out, like still trying to figure out like maybe arching your back to sight while wearing a wetsuit in open water or something like that. Maybe contract on your glutes, I guess. Or
you don't even sight that much because you got a paddler with you, and all I do is look when I breathe. I just see where the paddler is.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't sight much, but I did have what I would call good core engagement for swimming. So I was really stretching out, and my arms were really stretched out. So I had a good stretch going, and I think what most swim coaches would encourage is very good core engagement while you're swimming. And I think just the fact that I haven't swum continuously without a wall for 10 Ks, pretty much ever. I've done it a few times in my life. I think just the fact that in a pool you have a flip turn every 20 seconds or so really helps. Just those sort of micro rests, even though it's a few seconds at a time, it stops that from happening. So I think you'd need to do some sort of core strength work that really fatigues those muscles as you would on a 10K swim.
I just thought of something else too. When you do a turn, you bring your knees kind of not all the way up to your chest, but that flexes your glutes out. And
it's like the opposite of what you're doing when you're engaging them.
Yeah, and maybe wow, that's cool too. That's interesting. I remember I did a 10K swim and then got out and started riding my bike. And this something totally unexpected was reaching behind. I had my bottles, behind my saddle, and my tricep like seized up. Reaching behind my back, and I realized it was going to be a whole lot harder to get those bottles out from behind because my arms were so tired, and it was something I'd never planned
I've had that
for.
One before.
Yeah, that was so weird. Okay, so then let's see. That's day one bike, and then day one swim and bike. And do you hang around to watch everybody finish, or just the people that you think will be competing against the next days finish to kind of see how they look? And then how fast do you get out of there to go to your, I guess, a hotel room and where is that to start recovering?
Yeah, so I don't, I did hang around, but not on purpose to see how the other guys looked. I was just, I crossed the finish line. I got some food down. Did an interview with Bob Babbitt. Then I had to do a call with Slow Twitch, and so there was like 2 interviews straight away while I was trying to eat. So that was 10 or 15 minutes, and then you finish in this military base. So there's a barracks there, and there's showers and stuff. So I had a quick shower, and then it was really just get in the car. I actually put my Normatec compression boots on, lay in the car all the way down. And there wasn't enough space when I booked to book a place in Volcano where we ended for me and the entire crew. So I actually had a house down at the coast in Hilo, which turned out to be really good because it's much warmer down there. It's not raining and cold, and we had this beautiful place. It had a hot tub and a swimming pool and stuff. So it was actually really good for the recovery. And I could do some light swimming, sit in the hot tub, refuel. Pretty much get started with that right away. But I was there long enough to see the first few people come across, and and you kind of want to hang around a little bit and see how those guys are doing, because you end up being good friends with some of these guys. So it was you do a little bit of that and just say hi to them, and then my focus is really just getting out of there and trying to get an early evening and rest up for the next day.
Did you use that house for both nights?
No. So I stayed in downtown Kona before the race and before night 1, and then we're in Hilo for the end of day 1. But then you ride all the way to the top of the north side of the island, Hawaii, which is the bike turnaround of the Ironman course.
Right.
So on day 2, you want to sleep somewhere near there, because otherwise it would be a
long way.
3 or 4 hour drive. Because on day 3 you start at 6 a.m. So you want to be in the vicinity of Hawaii. So we stayed at a hotel in the Maunalani Hotel, which is down near Waikoloa, which is about a 30-minute drive the next morning to get back to the run start, which is fine because you eat something, the crew drives, and I just relax in the car while we drive up.
Right. So day 2, this was surprising to me. I mean, I followed Rich Roll when he did his races there, so I remember seeing pictures of him, kind of bundled up a little bit and ready to go. But I didn't know the temperatures. You're saying it was something like 40s something and raining?
Yeah, it was either high 40s, low 50s and raining.
And downhill.
And apparently that's pretty typical. So you start the day in the order you finish. So the good thing was I started in the front. But because it was wet and rainy, and you're riding downhill fast for about 45 minutes. Yeah. So you're going over 40 miles an hour for a long time. And it's dark as well, by the way. So the sun, it's kind of dawn, so you can kind of see where you're going, but not really.
Yeah.
And I'd heard these stories of some of these crazy European guys who just make a break for it off the front on that day too, and ride like madmen down this hill. And I kind of wanted to stop that from happening. So when we started, I rode pretty hard for the first 3 minutes just to prevent someone from trying to do any sort of crazy move. And that worked because we were off the front. There were basically 3 of us, and there's a Tony O'Keefe who's a veteran of the race. He's a really good biker, and he overtook me in the first few minutes. And then I'd never ridden any of these roads before. It was the first time I'd ever ridden them, so it was really good just to be able to sit behind Tony and follow his line all the way down. So I didn't have to really think about anything. I knew he knew the mountain pretty well. I think it's his 8th or 9th time doing this race. Wow. So I could just sit behind him and follow his line.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. I've done some mountain riding, and having one person or 2 in front of you, so you can see how much they have to lean and where they brake. Yeah. So you can do the same. It's way better.
Yeah. And I almost took the 808 on this day because it was pretty calm when we were driving up. It was raining, but there wasn't much wind. And then I just went with the 303, just was the conservative choice. And I'm pretty glad I did, because about 10 minutes into the ride, the wind really picked up and was kind of shunting me all over the place. And when I was doing about 50 miles an hour down that hill. And when it's raining and the road surface isn't great, there's like little potholes everywhere, and you got to really have your wits about you. And then the wind picks up as well. The last thing you want to do is be unstable at 50 miles an hour with wind gusting everywhere. So it turned out to be a good choice for day 2 as well.
Yeah, and so you get to the bottom of the hill and you start trying to change out of your cold weather stuff because now it's going to be warm. Yeah. And this is where the strategies begin with timing stoplights, because the rules of the race are you got to obey traffic lights and stop signs, right? Even a stop sign, you got to stop at a stop sign, right?
Yeah, you got to stop at a stop sign. You got to stop at the red lights. In fact, when I did the Florida race, someone was disqualified overall for the race just for rolling a stop sign. So I wasn't going to take any chances and do anything like that. There aren't many stop signs, but there are a few red lights there.
Yeah, it's such a big, long race. You don't want to stop, but also sometimes stopping can, for something very short, can actually kind of refresh you.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal. And
you learn to deal with it. The first time you do an Ultraman and that you get stuck at red lights, it's pretty frustrating, but you realize after a while it's just part of the race, and you just learn to accept it and deal with it.
Yeah. And let's see, you almost who was it that almost got hit by a car?
So Iñaki there were 3 of us together, and he came around the corner. You basically go down this massive hill for 45 minutes and you take a right turn, and as you take the right turn, there's like a shopping center there, and there's a light right away. As it was raining, I don't think he saw it because Tony and I both stopped, and he just didn't see, and he went through the red light by mistake. And there was a pickup truck coming through. It was green for the pickup truck, and luckily the truck saw him at the last minute and kind of slammed on brakes. And didn't hit him. But I was trying to take my wet gear off, and I was like so shocked. I thought this guy was about to be taken out by a truck that I forgot to take my stuff off. So
this almost ended into a tragedy.
But luckily he was okay. He's kind of swerved out the way, did a loop back, and then he stops at the light. So
that's cool. He came back. Yeah.
He didn't go through. He turned around when he had realized, and he came and stopped at the light. So
yeah, that's cool. So then, let's see. He's, y'all are going along, and a lot of the strategies, like trying to keep up with people, and you said you're noticing like where people's crew cars are and how the day's panning out, and you come around the east and north side of the island, right?
Yeah.
And
right. Yeah.
Then you so people want to look on a map. You just go to Google Maps and go to the Big Island of Hawaii and see. It starts kind of on the west side of the island where the swim is, and then kind of goes counterclockwise. Yeah. Counterclockwise. That's what we've been talking about. And so day 2 bike ride is 170 something miles.
The official documentation says 171, but it's actually the one in Hawaii is about 164.
Okay, and that was because of like some construction with like a road change or something like that, right?
I don't know. It could be. Yeah. I don't know if it's always been like that, but definitely the last few years, that's what it's been. And they are constrained by going through Hilo, which is a pretty big town. If there is construction or anything, they have to change the route there. So, but pretty much it's the same except for that section, which I think could change.
Oh, and you've got some pictures of that road called Red Road, which just looked amazing. So nice.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's basically like this, like it's this road. It's kind of like a roller coaster road. So very these sort of bumps, but it's it's just like very very short rollers under a canopy of rainforest, basically right next to the ocean. With virtually no traffic. So it's just this beautiful, beautiful road. And it's a no feed zone, so there's no crews or anything. So you're on your own for that period of time. And there's a guy on a motorcycle that goes up and down. If you do have a mechanical or something, he can help out, but your crews are not allowed on that section. Yeah. So it's just beautiful, it's very peaceful and extremely scenic. And just that road itself is just a great experience to have been able to ride on that.
So during like the entirety of the race of the bike ride and the run, can you see the ocean pretty much the entire time, like 90% of the time?
No. So on day 1, you start at the ocean, and then you're you ride inland a little bit, and then probably the first 40 miles of that, you don't really see the ocean that much.
Right.
Then you see it for about 5 miles. You're right next to the ocean. That was where you saw the video of the crazy wind and the ocean with white caps. And then you turn inland and climb up to Volcano. You don't see the ocean at all.
Well, I guess on day one, you've seen plenty of the ocean already.
Yeah, exactly. And then day two, once you're through Hilo, you ride next to the ocean for quite a while. It's just spectacular. They got these gulches, which is basically like a waterfall that falls into the ocean, and the road kind of winds around past the waterfall, and you got these cliffs with this beautiful ocean. Wow. A big part, at least of the first half of the ride, is like that, just beautiful scenery, beautiful ocean. And then you start this long climb inland on this, it's kind of a brutal and boring long climb into, there's a little town called Waimea. Mm-hmm. And that's probably one of the toughest parts of the course, just because it's not that scenic, and there's a lot of traffic, and you're climbing uphill with what seems like forever.
Right. So you finished day 2.
Yeah.
And what position are you in then? Do you remember?
So I was in second then. So basically at that long hill that I talked about. So Iñaki caught up to me. I managed to create a gap on these guys almost by mistake, just before the red road. So the red road is before you get to Hilo. You do the long descent, you go out and you go on this red road. And I turned around and they were both gone. And my plan had been to stick with whoever was in front until Hilo, because you go through a series of 6 traffic lights. Okay. And all I wanted to avoid was someone else getting through a light and me getting stuck. So I wanted to be with whoever was in front. That was my only goal, getting into Hilo. And I somehow managed to drop these guys by accident. Mm-hmm. So I was on my own going through Hilo, and then I got stuck at a red light. There was a road construction with one-way traffic, and this light lasts about 4 minutes. I think I was 2 minutes ahead of Iñaki at that stage, and then he caught me when I was at this red light.
Okay.
So we rode a little bit together, and then he just put in the surge that I couldn't stick with. So I was already, I was sticking with him pretty comfortably. I was doing about 270 watts, which is about what I do in a half Ironman. So pretty hard effort, what I'd normally do on a 56 mile ride in a triathlon.
Right.
And then he started riding even harder than that. So when I was doing 350 watts to try keep with him, mm-hmm. I just eventually let him go, because I felt that would probably impact my race negatively.
Oh yeah.
And then he continued riding like that. So he put, between that time and the time he finished, he put 15 minutes into me. So he finished 15 minutes ahead that day, and he had been 10 minutes behind the day before. So I started day 3 with a 5-minute deficit. So I was in second place by 5 minutes. Okay. And I had about 40 minutes on third place.
So I've never really heard about Iñaki before this race. Where is he from?
He's from Mexico, so he's an athlete from, I think he lives in Mexico City. Uh-huh. He's done a bunch of Ultraman races before. Mm-hmm. But last year he had a bad race. I think he came 13th. Right. And he, in the lead up to the race, I saw that he was actually doing some really good training. He had been out in Kona for, I think, 3 weeks before the race. And he'd been putting in some really solid preparation. So I knew before the race that he would be a contender. Mm-hmm. But I've never raced him before, so I didn't really know much about him. Right. But on day 1, I kind of felt like I could, I felt like I tested him a little bit on that final climb, and I thought I knew where his limits were. But I was clearly wrong about that, because on day 2 he put a lot of time into me, and it's not like I faded. I was riding. I still felt like I was riding pretty strong. Yeah. And he put in a good chunk of time on me. Wow.
So you finish day 2, and after a little while, you head over to your hotel to recover. And a lot of us were following you on Slow Twitch, and that was really cool of you to get on there. And I was actually really surprised, because we were talking about you. We're like, I said, oh, he's going to do awesome, and he's going to do really well, unless he wrecks or something like that, and because you know what you're doing. And then next thing I see is you're in there. Hey, everybody, how's it going? And I was like, holy crap, man, he's got some energy. And so that was really cool of you to jump in and say hey and how you were feeling and stuff. And then,
well, you know what? I've been on the other side when I'm trying to figure out what's going on in this race, and I'm sitting back on the mainland behind my computer screen, and no one says what's going on.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew that it would be at least useful to people to hear something. And all I was doing was I was chilling out in a hot tub, relaxing. So I figured, why not go into slow twitch and participate a little bit and let those guys know how it's going.
Yeah, that was super cool. And okay, so you said you got to get up at 6 a.m. or you got to start running at 6 a.m. for this thing. So yeah, early start. And then what a lot of people don't know is that like the Boston Marathon, the first how many miles of the run is downhill, and people go, oh, well, that'll be easy. And no, it's not. Like downhill running, I've done a bunch of trail runs that are like 50 to 100. I've only done like 1.5 because I had to drop out of a 100-miler. But like you start doing downhill running over a long period of time, and it hurts. Actually, running uphill feels better than running downhill. You can't take another step downhill because of the pain. So how many miles of the first part of this race is downhill? Is it like 10 miles or 20?
So I think it's 18 miles downhill.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So, on pavement. So
on pavement.
Yeah.
It's not super steep, but it's it's steep enough.
Yeah. So it's just like a little jackhammer, just going bang, 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 bang. Yeah. And I was shocked at the numbers. I mean, I shouldn't be shocked, but you said y'all were trying to do like 7-minute miles. Like, I guess, is that the competitive run speed for the championships?
So I mean, basically, what you want to do is run to the level that you've trained to run at. Mm-hmm. So I basically had a conservative option, which was, hey, I'm just gonna run, and I'll probably I'll run in order to podium, and it's kind of like a safe run that I know I'll absolutely be able to do. So that for me, that would be just run the whole thing around 8-minute miles.
Okay, 8 minutes. Yeah.
But I knew that my more aggressive approach and what I trained to do was run the first bit a little faster than that. So do like 7:15 per mile for the whole downhill. Because for a number of reasons. One, it's cool. So you want to putting that in that higher effort when it's colder means you're not overheating yourself like you're going to be doing later on.
Right.
So you could either plan to run the whole thing evenly, or you could run the first bit much more aggressively and then account for the fact that you are going to slow down once you hit the rollers on the Queen K Highway. And that's what I went with. And that's the common strategy from the guys who have run really well there before. Okay. So that I could have gone more conservatively, sure, but I went with what I trained to do, which was that. So 7:15, and I was very lucky that there were one of the other athletes, Jochen Dembeck, was running exactly the same pace as me. So I had like a pacer for the first. I think we were together for about 30 miles. Wow. Running exactly the same pace. So that and that really helps, having someone running with you at exactly the same pace, because it just keeps you going.
All right, we need to mention UCAN. UCAN is a super starch. This is really cool stuff. It's a super slow acting carbohydrate, almost to the point of your body doesn't know what it's doing. It's like we're getting energy from somewhere else is happening. And it's really great for swimming. You want to go swim for an hour and not be needing to, take sips from a bottle on the side. Your coach hits you over the head with a kickboard, like my coach used to do. Quit jacking around. Get back in the water. Quit being lazy at the wall. Keep on swimming. And you can do this, especially in races, right? You're going to do an Ironman. You're going to be in the water for an hour. You're doing a half Ironman. You're going to be in the water for half an hour plus. You're going to be going and going and going. You don't have a chance to drink or refuel out there. You can't drink out of a bottle while you're swimming. Well, you kind of can with UCAN, because UCAN is a very, very slow drip carbohydrate. And so it slowly releases into your system so you can kind of preload with this stuff before you're going to do something long. It also kind of saves your teeth from all that sugar, right? Because you can power this stuff down. It's actually pretty easy to drink. And then you have energy for like an hour, hour and a half from this stuff. This is really cool. So it comes in different flavors. You have chocolate. You have some stuff with some protein added in if you want that, and some electrolytes added in if you want that. And they also have orange, tropical punch, and all this different stuff. And so what I do is I get up in the morning, I drink, I have a little bit of breakfast, a tiny little bit of breakfast, some coffee, and then right before I leave to go to the pool, I drink a bottle of UCAN pretty quickly, and then by the time I get to the pool, you got your energy, you feel nice and good. That's slow release, and it just works, man. It's really amazing, and it's actually helped me break the habit of needing sugar by the side of the pool. I think I've pretty much turned around, pretty positive. I've turned around my needs for sugar by using UCAN. I've become much less sugar dependent and way more fat enhanced metabolism going on, and I did it through using UCAN. The latest thing that I've done with it is one time I did it half the swim, but my latest was I did a full swim, nonstop butterfly for 1 hour after drinking UCAN. 3,150 yards, nonstop, all butterfly, drinking UCAN. Before I got to the pool, chocolate flavored was what I did. And I just swam easy, smooth, and did the whole thing. I posted the workout. You can go check it out. It was crazy. And I plan on doing it more because it was actually fun. It actually wasn't even all that hard. I just kept it easy. And you can do the same kind of stuff, a long, continuous workout, hour and a half, without needing the fuel by pre-fueling with UCAN. Check it out. You go to UCAN's website, and they have the opportunity for you to put in a discount code. If you use discount code ZenTri, ZenTri, all caps, you can get it 15% off. How about that? That's pretty cool. And then they turn around and send a little bit this way to ZenTri itself. And man, if that's not a good advertisement for these guys, this stuff works. It's awesome. I love it. You can get a discount. You can support ZenTri. Get on it. Get on it. Break all that sugar. Break that habit, man. Get on something that's a little bit better for you with some UCAN. All right, let's get back to the episode. Here we go. You mentioned something that I'm a big fan of is Under Armour heat gear.
Yeah.
Compression heat gear. So it's the really thin, body fitting, kind of like one size too small kind of compression tops for ultra running. They are incredible. They are by far like the best thing. I've been using those forever. Short sleeve, long sleeve. The long sleeve's great for being out in the sun. And you had a white one, so you got good sun coverage. And I remember emailing them when they first came out with those years and years and years ago, saying, "Can you please put pockets on the back of these things, a cycling jersey?" Because I was wearing it for long bike rides. And it's funny because Mako was sponsored by them, and so he had an Under Armour cycling kit for years. Yeah, and it's got pockets on the back of that, but we could not get Under Armour to make pockets on the back of this heat gear top. But anyway, then you had 3 pairs of running shoes to go through. Yeah, Hokas, right? All Hokas. Yeah. And did you wear all 3 of them?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I started with with a lot of extra cushioning just for the downhill running. Mm-hmm. Yes, the idea was to help limit the impact on my legs. And then the other 2, I had a pair of Cliftons and a pair of Claytons. I like both of those, and the only reason to have 3 was as the day warms up and you kind of pouring water over yourself. Yeah. As soon as those shoes get any bit of moisture in them, they start getting a bit waterlogged. So the idea was to switch out mainly to a pair of dry shoes whenever I needed to. Yeah. So that's what I did. So I went through all 3 pairs of those.
Wow. Yeah. The big ultra run I do does loops of 20 something miles, And I would cycle every once in a while one of those loops through with a different pair of shoes. And sometimes it's nice just to put on something different. Even
it is
good.
Yeah,
Change
feels
out your
good, and
socks
it's
and
a little bit of a different muscle. Yes, the micro muscle groups that you use slightly different. So I find it very useful just to change up a little bit.
So you mentioned that you were going through about 300 calories per hour. And are you using your own homebrew fuel that you mentioned one time that you make yourself, or were you using something?
No. So on the run, I use a product called glucose. So that's GLUKOS, and it is pure glucose. So they have a number of things that I use. One is their gel, which is it's kind of very watery. So it's a very liquid gel. You can just drink it without having to wash it down with any water.
Nice.
And it's not a huge amount of calories. It's like 80 calories per sachet. And so I would, because I got a crew there, they would just give this to me every 10 minutes. I would have one of those until I got sick of it, and then I would switch out to something else. But the other glucose product I use is they're called energy tablets. So it's like a round disc. And you just kind of put it under your tongue, chew it a little bit, and it's pure glucose powder in a tablet form. And these things are awesome because you actually absorb some of that underneath your tongue, so you can effectively bypass your digestive tract with some of those calories.
Oh, cool.
So I find on the run that's especially useful, because the reason I couldn't go more than 300 is because if I go more than that, it's kind of I start to get a little bit weighed down by the food, and it feels like it's not processing at all, which is very different on the bike. But on the run, I kind of have that limit just because of the movement of running. So I have those tablets, I have those sachets, and then I have these Power Bar cola shots. It's like little cola chews, and those things are great. A little bit of caffeine. I think they're called Power Bar cola shots. Those are just awesome. And then I have I switched to Mountain Dew. So I have a bike bottle. My crew puts a bit of ice in, fills about half a bike bottle with Mountain Dew, and then I had that for probably about 20 of the 52 miles. I had that, and then when I got sick of that, I actually switched to Starbucks. So I had these Starbucks. You get these pre-bottled frappuccinos, which is they're awesome. But I would never drink this on a day-to-day basis. Like, each bottle is like 250 calories or something and 30 grams of sugar. Right. But they taste amazing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're running. That was just awesome. I think I went through about 6 of those things.
Yeah.
And that was my nutrition. So glucose gels, glucose tablets, Mountain Dew, and Starbucks. Wow. What else do you need?
I know. so on you said about mile 38, it just a sudden, like your legs go or your quads go, I'm done, and then or was it like a gradual, over a period of like 5 miles?
Well, when I woke up at 4 a.m, my quads were already sore then, which I guess is not a good sign. So they were sore.
But I don't see how they couldn't be sore after what you've been doing. So
yeah, that's true. But so the first few miles, I thought I was going to just feel terrible the whole day, and the first mile felt pretty rough, and then I felt good after that. So my quads were still sore, but I felt good, and they were sore but manageable right up till mile 38. So I went through the half marathon in about 1:40, and by then I was actually Iñaki was 7 minutes behind me. He went through the half marathon 7 minutes slower than I did. Wow. So I thought he was done. I thought that huge effort he put in the previous day, I thought that's just wasted him, and he's not going to make up the time. Yeah. Went through the marathon mark in 3:29, and then it was just about settling in. So between mile 26 and 40, I just try and keep a constant pace, not do anything crazy. And I was running well. I was feeling good. I felt my nutrition was really working well. So aerobically, I felt great. Nutritionally, I felt great. And then just suddenly, at mile 38, it was like someone hit me in the quads with a baseball bat. And that pain that was manageable before just became unmanageable. So every single step was so painful. It was very difficult to actually continue. So I first of all, I just slowed down. So I slowed from about a 7:45 per mile pace to about 9 minutes a mile. And then I think Iñaki passed me. So my crew came to me and said, Iñaki's here. I said, what do you mean he's here? Last time we spoke, he was like 7 minutes behind me. But he had actually executed an amazingly good race. So he had actually started speeding up. He ended up negative splitting the marathon. Wow. So he was running faster. I was running slower. He overtook me, and about a mile later, I couldn't help, but I just had to walk. So the final 12 miles, I was just walking with a bit of running thrown in.
Yeah.
But it was a very different experience to what I've ever had before, because it wasn't because I was tired or because I was lazy or because I just didn't feel like running. It was just it was literally too painful to run and put that load on the legs. So I could run a bit uphill, but any sort of downhill, I was kind of weird. I had to walk the downhills and run the uphills pretty much.
Yeah. That looping course that I've done where you start getting into mile 60 and 70 and stuff, and that's just one day. You haven't done anything the day before. There's like a curb. You're like, you notice that you can't get up the curb without turning sideways and like swinging a leg up over it, and it's only like 6 inches tall, and you're like, the last time I was here just like a few hours ago, this was not a problem. But your legs just like give out, and you've got energy, you're doing all right. But you also said it was like 85 degrees or something. That's pretty warm for what you're doing that day.
Yeah, that's what they said. They said it was hot. I didn't feel hot at all. And then, I did my heat prep, so I think my heat prep worked pretty well. Maybe it was I think that Under Armour top helped a lot as well.
Oh yeah.
You and I seem big fans of that thing. I think they need to sponsor us.
Yeah. Well, you could just pour water over it too. It just like instantly cools you, and you can shove sponges under it.
Exactly. They should forget Macca, forget Phelps. They should sponsor us.
These races with 30 people in them.
Exactly.
Where the racers have to call in and do their own press conference. I wish, man. That's such good equipment. I have a question going back to the swim.
Yeah.
Last time you and I talked, we talked a lot about UCAN. And
yes.
Did you use that in training and on race day? Because the thing you talked about before was that I picked up on, and I've been doing, is with UCAN, because it's such a slow drip carb, you can actually cut down on the number of feedings, which swimming is a big problem, right? Because to feed while swimming, you got to come to a complete stop, unlike biking and running. And so if you load up on your carbs before you can go and not need to stop. You said that in your write-up, you didn't stop for anything until like an hour in, right, on the swim?
Yeah, I did. I just stopped twice. I had very few calories on the swim. I had two bike bottles with the same glucose mix. They got a premix powder, so only probably about 180 calories per bottle. So I got through the swim on about 360 calories. But I did. It was more. Not even that I needed the calories that much during the swim, but it was just to prepare for after. And really, I just wanted something. When the water in Kona is very salty, so I just wanted something a little bit sweet to drink.
Right.
And I did have a third bottle which got knocked off it got a bit rough out there after 4 or 5K, so we lost one of the bottles, but I had two. But I didn't actually end up needing more than two. But to answer your question about UCAN, I actually did use it on the run.
Oh, okay.
I had a whole packet of UCAN in a bike bottle just before the start of the run.
Okay.
And usually I would, like in an Ironman, I wouldn't really have UCAN on the run because it's so slow acting that by the time you actually the energy gets processed, you're probably almost going to be done with the run. But I think something like an ultra, in this case 52 miles, I think it's very useful to have something like UCAN as part of your breakfast or just before you start running on a day like that.
That's what I've noticed too. Is I use it. I talk about it on the show every once in a while before I go for my swim workouts in the morning.
Yeah.
I have it before I leave the house to go, and then I don't need any fuel. The entire swim. I'm not hungry or anything like that. And then that kind of broke me from needing so much fuel all the time. Anyway, of the simple sugars through a lot of my work. Okay, so anyway, Let's see. So you're getting towards the finish, and how do you pronounce his last name again? Anaki. He passes you.
He passed me at around mile 38, I think, 38, 39, somewhere around that.
And that was the only person that passed you, or other people passed you, but it didn't matter because you had gained so much time on them on the other day.
I think there might have been.
Were you just looking into the light?
Yeah, honestly, the only people I was more worried about Tony O'Keefe, who started the day 35 or 40 minutes behind me in the general classification, because he's a great runner. He's run, I don't know, maybe 6.5 hours there before for the double marathon. So I felt like he was very capable of putting that time into me. Mm-hmm. Whereas I know that Iñaki he runs about the same pace that I do. So I felt between me and Iñaki would be a wash, and whoever executed well on the day. But I felt that Tony could easily put that time into me. So the whole day I was kind of focused on Tony, and I was keeping him 5 to 6 minutes ahead of me, and trying to not let that gap increase too much. Mm-hmm. But by the time my quads packed up, I honestly didn't care anymore. I was just, all I wanted to do was get to the finish. Yeah. And there was literally nothing I could do to go any faster, so it was not like it mattered to me what Tony was doing. Mm. But Iñaki passed me, and I think there were two other guys running pretty close behind him that I think they may have passed me too, but then I didn't see anyone else, and I was really surprised because I was walking a lot of that final half marathon. And I was just like, where are these people? Like, where's everyone else? There's another.
They're probably walking too.
Yeah, he's like, where are these people? And there was one guy who finished I think he finished 8 seconds behind me. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see him till the finish. So I didn't see anyone, and then I crossed the line. I turned around. This other guy was there. So that's it. I didn't see anyone else really after Iñaki passed me.
So did you ever get sick to your stomach and throw up? Or
No, nothing. Yeah. My stomach was super solid. Nutrition worked well. Once I started walking, I didn't really take in any more calories because I didn't really need them. Right. So I just sip on the occasional Starbucks just because it tasted good. But I probably had less than 100 calories per hour for the rest of the race. Right. But I was mainly walking, so I didn't really need anything. Yeah,
and we should mention you do coaching, right? And nutrition and nutrition coaching. This is this is the best advertisement for somebody that you could possibly get. You can do an entire Ultraman, a 3-day race, and feel great, fuel wise, so that you can have your best race, regardless of the speed. So you can actually enjoy the day and stuff like that.
That's true.
That's because these things are like an experience. It
is.
I found that through doing really long stuff that you're a different person at the end of it, and you don't know what that person's going to be. So it's fun to just do it at the best pace you can, and then you just kind of watch the day as it goes by. And nutrition just makes it so much better. A good nutrition that works for you. Yeah.
Especially if you're drinking Starbucks, that makes it even better.
Right. And people make themselves miserable with puking and all kinds of stuff like that. One of my last big races, I puked towards the end of it from heat exhaustion. Wow. It was very hot, and I wasn't drinking enough, and I didn't have the salt balance right to absorb it. So that wasn't even from overfueling; it was from just heat. Straight, you can get nausea from heat exhaustion.
Oh yeah.
And so let's see, you finished and you got second. Yeah. And there's those studies that show people that get second, or they show them on the podium at the Olympics, and they're mad because they could have gotten first, and won the whole thing. And they show the person in third, and that person in third is like super excited just to be on the podium. At all. So you're already talking about you want to go back next year, like you're driven. You see that you could win this thing, right? And if you just do some things differently, and now that you've been there, you kind of know that's amazing that you got second, and you've never done the race before. So like you're saying, these like crazy descents and stuff, like you didn't even know the road.
Yeah,
So
I think doing it was great experience, and one, I now know the roads a little bit better. I know what to expect, but I totally underestimated just from a training point of view. I knew, obviously, I knew the downhill from Harvey is going to be 18 miles of downhill. I should do a lot of downhill running. I got to strengthen my quads. I knew all that, and I did that, but I just don't think I did enough of it. So at least now I know what I did in training, and I now know that it wasn't sufficient for what was needed on race day. So now I can go back to the drawing board for my 2017 race, and really change up that run training to be able to really execute that well.
I remember, I think I was talking, it was either I interviewed Ian Sharman one time, and he's a top ultra runner. And, he might have won Western States 100 one year, or he did the Grand Slam where they do 5 100-milers in a year. And of the big ones, and they got whoever has the fastest cumulative time wins or something. And it was either I was talking to him or he was talking to somebody else. And yeah, the preparation for these big ultra marathon mountain runs, where they do like the equivalent of Everest up 6 times or something like that, like the Hard Rock 100, which is just brutal. He said that the upcoming month or two before the race, he'd go out like once or twice a week and just pound some, like, racing as fast as you can downhills, like the sides of mountains, to they just beat the crap out of their quads. And it actually didn't take that many times. It's weird. Like, once your quads get used to it, that amount of pain, because you can dish a ton of pain out to those quads really easily, with just some fast downhill running. And then that would that would temper their legs. So then by race day, they would not feel it all. And then another guy I talked to, I can't remember his name now. He's one of the world champion, like 6-day running events where they run around the track. It's insane, and nonstop running, and would run with a weight vest, like And he lives like in a totally flat place, so he would run on a treadmill or whatever, just run around with like a 20-pound, weight vest on. And that would do the impact on his legs to beat him up, because you've only got so many hours to train. Especially in triathlon. He was just doing running. So as triathlon, you've only got so many hours to train. So to artificially beat up your legs was a weight vest. And I went out and got a weight vest and did that for a while. And I think that was the year I had my best race doing an ultra marathon. So I was a big fan of it. So yeah, there's all kinds of
I think there's a ton to learn from these ultra runners. Yeah, they do all sorts of crazy stuff in training. So
and you live in like the mecca of all that, right? You've got a whole lot of resources you could pull from for that.
Yeah, I'll hang out with some of those guys, and I hope they don't convince me to do those crazy 6-day races. That's not only is it crazy racing for 6 days, but 6 days around a track. Yeah. That is nuts.
And they just pull over
I'll
on
accept
the side
their
of the
training advice.
Yeah, they pull over on the side of the track and just suddenly sleep for a while, and then they get up and go again. Okay, so let's see. What's next coming up soon? Are you registered for next year, or do you? And what are you going to do in between?
So I'll register. They only open registration, I don't know, like early next year sometime. So I'll register when it opens. I'm keen to go back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even regardless of the result, it's just it's an amazing experience. That's very different from your regular sort of Ironman race. It's it's a beautiful location. You get hit with all kinds of weather. The elements appear to be against you, but then also with you at some point. So it's a fantastic experience. I'll definitely do it again.
Yeah.
But that's only November. So right now I haven't done anything since then except for kind of old lady style of aqua movements in the pool and the occasional
Don't
steam
get my hair
session.
wet. The water's too cold.
Yeah, but that's it. I'll be doing some skiing and stuff over the winter, and then I'll probably start off with a big run focused block over what would be the off season for me, and then I'll probably do some early season Ironman. So I was thinking of doing Ironman Texas, which is in April, and then Ironman Boulder, which is in June.
Yeah.
And then taking a short break after that, doing some harder, more intense stuff, like maybe a few half Ironmans and Olympics. You're ready because in the Ultraman you actually need that top end that you don't necessarily need in an Ironman,
right,
because you're not running after any of the bike days. So
yeah. And you have rest nights in between, so you actually get to start off race pace, full on. Yeah.
So I'll probably do a few 70.3s and then go into my Ultraman build starting around July, August. So probably beginning of August, really start the Ultraman specific stuff.
Yeah.
And then build up to November again.
Did you have so much fun that you think that you might be like that other guy you were saying that's like on his 8th year, 9th year, where like this becomes your thing, and then Ironmans and half Ironmans are kind of filler in between?
Oh yeah, I guarantee you that already. That's pretty much how it's going to be. This is definitely my thing.
Yeah, it is. It is your thing for sure.
Yeah. Ironmans are just going to be, they're just convenient, local races that are kind of fun to do. Mm-hmm. But this is going to be my thing. There's one guy who raced this year. His name's Gary Wang in the Ultraman. It's his 16th time.
Wow.
That's more. So he's done more Ultramans than I've done Ironmans.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I think they're really neat because there's the whole element of stage racing. Even though it's kind of like, in a weird way, it's kind of like the Tour de France, because you got these, overnight breaks, and you can start again the next day. Every day is another day of hope. It is. And you can kind of finish hard because you got some rest coming.
Yeah.
And it's just a wild mix. Very, very cool. Cool. Well, thanks for your time. Did I miss anything? Were there any questions on Slow Twitch? I mean, that thread was pretty long with all kinds of questions that were directed at you that you wanted to be more clear about on your answer, or?
No, I think we covered all that stuff. A lot of people ask me how was the training different to Florida? How's the training different from an Ironman? So I think we covered all that stuff. People always want to know about nutrition. Mm-hmm. I tend to have something new with nutrition each time, so I think we gave them enough new stuff this time to think about. There's nothing I can think of that we haven't already covered.
So I remember the on the glucose thing, which is like you said, that's the brand name, but it's basically is glucose, which is the reason it's in Europe. It's a big fuel, right? You can go buy just glucose, which is actually it depends on where it comes from. It's like corn syrup or something like that, but it's basically the same thing that's already in your blood sugar. That is your blood sugar. It's glucose, so you don't really have to digest it hardly at all, right?
Yeah. There's not a lot of overhead for your body to make that available as fuel. Mm-hmm. So I use that, but then I also use that my traditional mix on the bike, which is the maltodextrin and fructose mix. So I take maltodextrin, fructose, and then blend it in with ginger beer, and that's my primary fuel on the bike. So it's like I got these bottles that are 400 calories a bottle. Have one of them per hour. For the bulk of my ride, that's it. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end of my ride, then I kind of switch to the glucose stuff because it's simple and it's instant, and I drop the calories a bit as the intensity increases. So I go from 400 calories an hour of my malto fructose ginger beer mix to about 250 calories per hour of the glucose stuff towards the end.
Yeah. And like you said, people need to remember that your resting blood sugar.
Yeah.
Or I guess, I don't know is it resting blood sugar? But anyway, is 80 something or right around 80. So it shows you can do it. Like it's possible to fuel well on the bike and also be healthy with your blood sugar at the same time. So, because you're burning it off, right? If you're doing
you're burning it off. And I wouldn't recommend like day in and day out hitting yourself with that much sugar. But for 3 days, it's you kind of want to be as efficient as possible. And the simpler the sugar you get in, and the fewer ingredients you actually consume in that drink, the less taxing it is on your body to actually digest and process that stuff.
All right. Well, cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I've had you on here a long time, and got to let you go. And I really appreciate it. I'll get the show out for everybody as soon as I can.
Awesome. Well, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity to chat to you again.
Oh, yeah. It's an honor talking with you. Thanks, man.
Cool, man.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Brett. Okay, bye.
All right, folks. Thank you so much, Rob Gray. Again, you can check him out at robgray.org and all of his blog postings about how the race went down. Super cool having him on. And in the meantime, while you were listening to that interview, I was actually getting a colonoscopy between when I finished recording for the intro and then when we picked up again just right now. And that is some interesting stuff. I have a family history, a really severe family history of colon cancer. And so I started getting colonoscopies. That's where they put the camera up your rear end and look around to make sure you don't have any beginnings of cancer. Colon cancer is real slow growing. And at first, it's every 5 years, and when you're age 45 or 50 or something like that. But when I was a kid, I was like in 8th grade, about my grandmother came down with colon cancer, and then her daughter, my dad's sister, this is both on my dad's side of the family, came down with colon cancer, and they both died. And my dad went in to get scoped like this, and this is in the mid-'80s, 1980s, and they found polyps in him. That's how they start off, is polyps, and cut them out. And my dad took the pictures because the whole thing is, if it's in your family especially, and also anybody, when you get to be a certain age, it's like in your 40s or 50s, you need to get checked out anyway, regardless of your family history. But you need to go get checked out, and they... People have a fear, logically, of things being shoved up your butt. And so it's hard to get people to go in. But I think the trigger that allows me to not think about it too much is my dogs are play fighting in the background. The thing that makes it okay for me, and like I was like no problem with it, is when my dad went in and they found polyps in them. They take pictures while they're in there because it's a camera on a long thread. It's like a robot little rope that they run up you, so it's no big deal. And they take pictures while they're up there. And my dad, being my dad, taped the picture printouts. I think it's all on one page back then, on the refrigerator door at eye height level of the inside of his butt for everybody to see. And there was little polyps and where they cut them, I don't know, let's say it was 3 of them or something like that. And so as a kid, I grew up with it being normal that a responsible adult goes in and gets stuff checked. And when they do, they sometimes find stuff. And my grandmother and my aunt had passed away from this stuff, and my dad is alive today, many years later, because he went and got checked. And so when it came to be time for me, with a family history, they say you should probably go at age 30, 35 or something like that. So I guess I was like 35. I went in, and the very first time, it's kind of weird. You're wondering, like, what's going to happen? Is it going to be... are they going to hold you down while you're yelling and run a rod up your butt like a fishing pole or something like that? And so you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be terrible. And then what actually happens is they go, all right, change into this gown. And they're very professional, very cool. And then they go, all right, they put you under general, I don't know if it's general anesthesia. I guess it is. And they have to sign all these things that you're going to be knocked out. And you're like, okay. And then they go, all right, hey, how's it going? So, this is what, like today, this is what I remember. Something like, you said you ride bicycles or something like that, and I was like, yeah, I do. And then next thing I know, I wake up, and it's been an hour later, maybe hour and a half later. I wake up, and I'm back in the room where I started out earlier in the day, and I'm like, oh, are we done? And they go, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And I go, well, how'd it go? And they go, well, we found a polyp, and we cut it out. It was real small. And when I got home, I Googled it, and not all polyps are cancerous. It doesn't really mean anything to have a polyp, but all cancers, all colon cancers, start from a polyp. So if you cut the polyps off, and they're just like a bump, they can get kind of elongated and dangly. I guess kind of like a little testicle is what it would look like. Then if they cut them off, then you never get the start of a colon cancer. And they're pretty slow growing, so you've got plenty of time. And they said in my family history, now that they found one, and now that, there's a genetic test I can have done to see if, how inclined I am. If I'm a positive on this test, then I'm 80% likely to get colon cancer at some point. I mean, oh my God. And then you would go in every 3 years or something like that. So it's not that big of a deal. So my whole thing is, if you're a certain age, or if there's colon cancer in your family, go get checked. It is totally worth it, the peace of mind to know that you're clean down in there and that you're not going to get this stuff. They can totally prevent it. It's awesome. And the thing about it, doing something up your butt or something like that is unfounded. Don't worry about it. That's a non-issue. It's kind of funny even to joke about it and stuff. Because I was joking about it at work with my coworkers. They're like, "Hey, do you have Friday off?" I go, "Yep, I'm getting a camera up my butt to see if I have colon cancer." And they're like, "What? Oh my God!" And it's funny, like you're like, "Oh no, it's not that big of a deal." And but they're like, "What? It's gonna go up your butt? Oh my God!" And it ends up being funny conversation. It's all on how you treat it. And then the only downside is the day before, like 2 days before. You have to have your colon tract like empty for the, or else they're just going to run right into poop immediately up in there. So you have to start doing things 2 or 3 days before. Like, 3 days before, it's like no beans, and it's because of the shell-ish kind of material on the outside. So no beans, no corn. I'm trying to remember what else. And then the day before, it's no, on top of, the stuff before that, then it's no solid foods, only clearish liquids. And if you do eat solid foods, then it has to be like Jell-O and whatever, and nothing that's red or blue, I think, because they could mistake that for blood. And so no red Gatorade, for example, but you could do orange Gatorade, or you can do clear whatever. And so the day before, this is my third time to go in for this, and I've got it down to a science now. Don't starve yourself. If you just eat clear liquids, you're sitting there going, "Well, it's just water." Well, then you're not getting enough calories in and you become a miserable wreck. And actually what you do is you can find clear liquids and Jell-O with calories in it, right? So I've got maltodextrin powder. I just added maltodextrin powder, and I did coconut oil, for example, which is clear and loaded with calories. 2 tablespoons has 250 calories, right? So you just do a tablespoon of coconut oil every once in a while, and that keeps in some maltodextrin powder. And the day before, you're not yelling at people and angry because you're starving. And that's how it goes, man. And then the 12, or it's like the 6 hours before or 8 hours before, they got you on a schedule. You have to start drinking this fluid that makes you crap everything out of your system. That is what sucks, because you're constantly pooping everything out, and it's I think I had to drink about half a gallon altogether of the stuff and then water. And you have to drink it on a schedule. And yeah, it's amazing what comes out of your body. It's actually pretty horrific. And the pooping is gross. And that's the downside. It's not things going up you. It's the things coming out of you the day before. That's pretty nasty. All right, let's leave that where that is. But it's survivable, and I'm glad. And it's a little PSA out there that go get it done, and you may end up saving your life. And if somebody else won't go do it because they're like my brother, he will not go do it. And the fact that they found a polyp this time, maybe that'll get them to go. And I bug them. Everybody bugs them. Your dumb little brother goes and gets it done be a big older brother and do the right thing, And so tell people that you heard about it, that you don't feel it. It's actually the best nap you ever took. And you're sleepy the rest of the day, which is nice. You get the day off from work, and it's just nice. And they're very professional, and there's nothing going on down there. Nobody messing around up your rear end. All right. Also, I wanted to mention a really good book. Let's see. It is, I'm going to bleep it out. This is a really great book that I've been listening to. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And that's really the title. And I found it on Audible. It recommended it to me from other books that I had listened to. And I was like, oh, I'll give this a try. And actually, I want to recommend it to y'all to say that it's really good. And what's really good about it is the beginning and the very end. The middle, I'll tell why the middle isn't very good in a second. But the beginning is all these examples of how we, and they're real short, so it drives the point home. By overthinking things and caring too much, we kind of subvert, no, that's not the word, undermine. We undermine ourselves a little bit, and sabotage, that's the word. We sabotage progress for you Canadians, and can't get as much done as what we want, and it's just from caring just a slight bit too much about things, and I think that's why the title's called The Subtle Art, SUBTLE art. It's because you don't want to not care too much, but because then you're pretty much a sociopath at that point. But if you care too much about too much stuff, then you're not able to get the thing done that you want to get done, right? So you don't give an F about the other things because you are working on your goal, right? So it would be like this. You act towards other people like you don't care about what they're eating, and you don't care about hanging out with them when they drink alcohol and eat pork chops and chicken wings, right? You're like, nope, I'm not into that. I got other things to do, right? Because the other thing that you're going to do is a life goal that makes you really successful, and that's training for an Ironman, for example, or a 100-miler, and so by not caring too much about other things and wanting to please other people, then you're able to actually focus on something that the one or two or three things in your life that are actually really important, and you're able to get those done now. And that's what's really cool. So the first chapter or so of the book is a lot of examples of that. It makes it really obvious, like, oh, it's like how to do it, like how to act like it. And then the middle of the book is it's long, drawn out examples, and it's kind of like filler for the book. And then I found like the last chapter or two were really good because it was like the impact that it has on you and what it means deep down inside, acting like this, and the final fruition and kind of the zen of it all. And that's it's very zen, actually. One thing at a time. Only this, only right now, nothing else. Right? It's very in line with Zen thought. So definitely want to recommend it. Go check that book out. And before we get into the training log, let's do our donations and Hornet Juice. You can help support the show by either donating to the show or getting some Hornet Juice. One or the other is really cool. So Hornet Juice is an amino acid protein. That's the other thing that I took yesterday when I was getting ready for my colonoscopy. I'm like, okay, this is all carbs and fat and no protein. I'm going to add some protein. Boom, Hornet Juice. Added it in, and I felt really good. It was nice. Hornet Juice is a synthetic amino acid. It's just a protein powder that you mix in with your fuel. One packet lasts an hour and a half. So you can either use it for shorter workouts, just one packet, or for longer workouts, one, maybe two. And what it does is it tells your body to activate fat burning, and it makes your body feel like a diesel engine. It's so cool. It's really, really amazing stuff. I've been using it for years and years and years and years, and people buy it and love it, and they come back and buy more. It's awesome. So there's a link on the left side of the page, no, the right side of the page. It's kind of purple and yellow, blue and yellow, and you can click on that, and you order your Hornet Juice, and then it comes to me. The order comes to me. I tell Hornet Juice that you ordered it. They send it to you, so you get this package from New Zealand, which is super cool. And then you get an email back from me that says, "Hey, how's it going? Your Hornet Juice is on its way." And it's super. You get an email from me. You get the stuff from New Zealand, and you get this novelty, awesome stuff that's synthetic Japanese killer hornet saliva protein powder. You're like, dude, show it to all your friends. And not only that, it's not novelty. It freaking works. So now you got your special trick that you use in big training days and on race day and stuff. And it's fun, man. It's really, really fun. And it makes training fun. That's what it's all about. It's so cool. Plus it works. And also, like, out of every order, I get like 5% or something small like that. And you... So you're helping the show, because a little slice of it comes off to ZenTri, which helps pay for all the podcast bandwidth and stuff like that. And then also, the other thing you can do is on the left side of ZenTriathlon.com, you can scroll down and just do a straight up donation. That's it. You don't need Hornet Juice. You got your protein powder mix fueling like covered. You don't want to mess with that stuff, or you've gotten some recently. You don't care, and you just want to do a straight up donation. So you can either do a one time, or you can do a recurring. Either way, I get your name and I mention it on the show, which is super cool. So that's on the left hand side of ZenTriathlon.com. And once you have my email address, through doing an order or through doing a donation, you can ask a question on the show. You can send it by email, and I'll answer it. We don't have any questions this episode, but you know what? I invite people to ask more questions, like training questions. People ask them on Twitter all the time. Hey, Brett, I've got this situation. What would you do? I've got this situation. What would you do? And I love answering that stuff. So we could do like a question and answer episode, like 10 questions. So I invite people to send those in. But let me mention these donations. Katie Joe sent a donation. Peter Salzen. Oh, by the way, a lot of these donations are recurring. So it's $4 a month, $3.99 a month if you set up for the recurring, which is like $1 an episode, which is really cool. And I really appreciate it. And James Godek, Brian Kemper, Todd Nelson, Matthew Heinz, who also sent me a message saying that my Twitter feed was strong recently because I live tweeted the process of me going through eating almost nothing all day long. It was like butter, coffee, orange popsicle, orange Gatorade, like just tweeting this stuff. And then, oh my God, what's coming out of my body when I was doing the colonoscopy prep. So I'm on Twitter. You can go check that out. ZenTriathlon on Twitter. And just trying to make it entertaining for myself. And let's see, John Moulin and Jonathan Woodman and Hun Chu. What's up, dude? And Justice Phillips, my favorite trail runner. And Karen Jackson and Simon Wright and Daniel Clemens. And if I didn't mention your name, I've got it in the queue and we'll mention it next episode. I got to go check on that, and that is cool. All right, so next we're going to get into the training log. I talk a little bit about going vegan, trying to heal my plantar fasciitis because I'll tell because why in a second, and then I'm trying to remember what else. Kai and Emily dare me to fast for 12 hours, and I do it, and you get to follow me along in that, which sucked. And just some other random stuff in there. It's pretty fun. And also, I just noticed, I was talking to my buddy Morgan, and the Brazos Bend 100 is now open for registration. So it's $180 for the 100. And it's not just that. Let me see if I can find the sign-up page. Oh, I lost it. Okay, but anyway, there's a 100-mile, and then there's a 100-mile relay, and then there is a 50-mile and then a marathon and a half marathon all in the same day, starting the same day. So you can definitely go check that out. It is the Brazos Bend Ultra, like I guess all day festival pretty much, and it's Christmas themed. So if you want to wear like an ugly Christmas sweater and have jingle bells and dress with a Santa hat, then you can do that at this race, and you will fit right in. And it's dead flat. It'd be really cool if we have a bunch of ZenTri people show up to do this thing. Don't register yet and expect me to be there. I'll tell you when I register. We got plenty of time. It's $180. I'm waiting for my feet to totally heal up. They're very, very close, and then I'll register. And so we're talking like maybe a couple more weeks or something like that. And then we'll register. Cool? Okay, that's it. And let's go ahead and get started with the training log. Here we go.
You are entering the ZenTri training log zone. Huneli.
Hi everybody, my name is Brett. I'm a triathlete.
I decided it's time I got some friends more suited to my status.
But Joe, we've been friends for years.
Hey, we all make mistakes. Come on, dudes, let's go exercise! Exercise! Yeah! I'm gonna do sit-ups till I poop myself!
All right, are we here? Okay. Welcome to a new training log. I am walking around the kitchen. I'm super stoked because I found a new recording app which allows you to append to an existing recording app. So I can just keep going with the training log without having to take this file and that file and that file and that file and then try to figure out which one happened when and then stitch them all together. So that is a big upper. And also I just did some push-ups. And oh my gosh, the downer is the crackling in my left elbow from the broken arm I sustained a year ago, almost to the day, is just insane. It's really, really bad. At some point, I'll try to get a recording of it. And let's see. The upper is the feeling you get from doing push-ups. It's so rad. I might do a set here in a minute to get people motivated because I'm so happy. And then I am packing up because I'm getting ready to go on the road to go to Tyler to have Christmas there. And I'm packing up a whole bunch of veggie stuff, a whole bunch of vegan stuff. Ooh, that orange is not good anymore. That thing is just contaminated. Holy crap. I'm not even going to handle it with one hand. I got to get a spare. Got to have both hands and a towel to get rid of that one. And I am on a huge high, but not because it gets you that way, on hemp. I found out I've got hemp powder in my pantry, and I really haven't been doing anything with it. And then I decided to start taking it, and then I really liked it because it surprised me about how green it was. And I'm like, man, this stuff's got a lot of the hemp husk, I guess, seed husk in it. And it's super green and stuff. And I'm like, oh, greens, well, how good is this leafy green that's in there that I'm noshing on there? And I looked it up, and it's not the greens, man. Well, one thing, like one serving has as much fiber as like a third of your daily requirements. One serving. And then it was the protein. Oh my God. Hemp protein blows every other plant protein out of the water and pretty much matches up with any animal protein, especially because of the bioavailability of it. Your body can absorb it really easily. So even if some animal proteins have more protein, your body can't really use it. And then there's the whole thing, which I'm slowly discovering. When I was vegan, I was perfectly skinny. I was an ideal body weight for my height, around 168, 170. And ever since I gone back on to not eating that, I just keep putting on weight, just inching up just the tiniest little bit at a time. And then I was watching these studies, these scientific releases on YouTube and stuff about how your body, it's not carbs, it's your, if it's simple sugar, yeah, but just plain carbs like apples and fruit and baked potatoes and stuff like that don't really matter with an insulin spike. But when you do animal protein, a beef patty spikes your insulin more than white bread. A bowl of pasta. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. So it's like, why are we so into this all this meat and stuff all the time, man? It's actually counterproductive. And then if you couple it with carbs, then it's like way worse. So I've been bouncing around the vegan train a little bit. I've definitely, dude, you ain't been vegan until you've been raw vegan, and I was raw vegan for almost a year, so I know my way around the vegan parking lot. But I did not know about hemp, and what happens is I feel like I didn't know it, but that was apparently my biggest question was like, man, where? It's a stupid question. Where are you going to get your protein from, right? But it's way in the back of your head. And also, I would never do raw again. You need, especially if you're an athlete, you need cooked foods. You just don't get enough calories in. But I've been eating hemp protein for about a week, and it seems to solve so many of my problems. As far as the amount of protein I'm getting in, I feel happy. Like I got no worries. One serving of hemp protein has as much protein as 2 eggs, and then none of the animal crap in it that's bad for you. And then the other thing is, it also comes with a ton of fiber, and it's a leafy green of sorts. It's got the husk, which is leafy green of hemp, and I'm like, man, this, they say a perfect storm is when 3 things come together, not just 2, but it's 3, and then it's just unavoidable. And I'm like, man, this thing takes care of protein, and it's got fiber in it, and it's got some leafy green mixed in with it. I'm like, dude, this might be my answer. I realized after a few days of using it about how happy I was, and I was like, man, maybe if I went vegetarian, vegan again, then all I got to do is just eat some of this stuff on a regular basis. And I like it. I've been adding it to everything. I like it. And it's easy to find. And I'm like, man, maybe this, you got to feel secure, you don't got to feel like you're off balance or else you're going to quit. And I'm like, man, this is the big picture. This is like everything I need to go vegan, vegetarian again, because my weight is pissing me off, especially because I haven't been able to train as much because I'm trying to let my feet heal. Speaking of which, the last thing I was going to mention was, well, this morning I biked, but then I quit at an hour. I was planning on doing 2 hours, but I quit at an hour because the arches of my feet started to hurt. I got plantar fasciitis, and I was like, oh, it's starting to hurt a little bit. Better stop. It's putting out good watts, though, man. What was I doing? Easily going 240, 250 watts by accident. And I was like, man, I don't need to be doing that. I need to be backing off just for my easy. And then what was the other thing? In the middle of the night, I woke up and stretched a little bit. I was like on my back, and I was like, stretch, right? And what do you do when you stretch? Yesterday I did some intervals on the bike, and also I went to the gym and lifted. And I did mostly machines, but I did a little bit of free weights, but mostly machines. And I did quads and hams, no calves, no calf stretching, because that seems to activate your calves. You got to push down with your feet, and then you get that you're stressing out your arches, your plantar fasciitis. So pull-ups and all kinds of cool stuff. Overhead press felt great, and then I was laying in bed at like 2 a.m. I guess. I don't know what I was doing, but I was laying there at what time it was, and I was laying there and I go, and I stretch. So what do you do when you stretch? You kind of tighten up if you stretch one way, you're tightening up all the muscles on your backside. So your back, your triceps, do that. Like tighten up, arch your belly out, and then stand on your tippy toes. And you end up clenching your butt cheeks and pulling on your hamstrings, and you end up tightening your calves. And I was laying there, and I started stretching like that, only for a second, because I don't want to do too much with my calves like that. And then it felt like all of a sudden I was shot in my calf, and I think my right calf went into a cramp. I don't know what it was, but it felt like a monster was ripping my calf off my leg and shooting me in the leg with a taser gun at the same time, all in my calf. And I was trying to hold back from screaming and yelling. I was definitely making all kinds of horrible noises, but I was trying to muffle myself so I didn't wake up Emily or Kai and scare them at 2 a.m. because I wasn't having a heart attack. So I'm like, I don't want to freak them out. But I thought I was on the verge of needing somebody to help me. And it just kept going and going and going, and it hurt so bad. And it was, let's say it was a cramp in my calf. When all the rest of the night my calf hurt, when it finally stopped, my calf hurt. And then when I woke up this morning, my calf felt like it was just been in a car wreck, like it had been bruised, like a nail driven through it. It hurt. So I think I totally tore something in my calf by stretching and and contracting on the stretch, and that activated a cramp. It stimulated the cause of a cramp, and then the cramp pulled so hard, contracted so hard on my calf that it tore my calf on the inside. So I feel like I've got a torn calf. Emily looked at it this morning and said there's no bruising on the outside that she can see, but the fact that I was asking her if she could see any bruising on it was just shows you like how bad it was. I haven't felt pain like that either ever or in so long I can't remember. It was extremely painful. So that's it. I'm headed on the road, and let's see, healthy stuff. I got my hemp powder. I got peanut butter and jelly and Genesis bread, which is super healthy bread, and the jelly is chia. It's got chia seeds mixed in with the jelly. It's chia blackberry fruits bread, which is really cool, and not much sugar added. And then I ran out of coconut milk. Got some ashwagandha powder, which I really like. And I'm about to have some vegan enchiladas. So it's beans, rice, corn tortilla, and then more beans and corn and onion mixed in, and then with some salsa, fresh salsa on top of it to load up. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, that's it. I got stuff to do or else I'm going to be late. Out, bang. All right, I'm back. Here we go. And I got 2 things I want to talk about. And they're both really valuable. One is how to meditate. And the other one's how to do pull-ups. Both very, very valuable, very cool things. And let's go ahead and talk about how to meditate first. It's actually really, really simple. It's so simple, and it's so rewarding that people get confused about it and then think they build a religion around it when actually it's just a really simple tool. It's pretty cool. So you can't move forward until you let go of the past, and you don't know it, but your subconscious is the boss. And it's kind of like your job. You really can't do anything new or different until you ask the boss, right? And what will your boss say? Your boss will say, well, have you finished this other project that you're supposed to be working on? And if you haven't, then you're kind of screwed, right? You can only kind of half work on the new thing or not even really work on the new thing, and you get frustrated and you're kind of miserable. And you're just frantic and busy and don't really know why. And the next thing you know, you're dead. No, just kidding. But, well, you could live your whole life like that. Most people do. But what meditation does is you sit in a calm position. This whole thing where you have to sit cross-legged and you have to do this and you have to focus on your breathing and da-da-da-da-da. That's all extra. And in Zen, we are not a fan of extra. We're a fan of only now, only this, only nothing. But what you do is you sit in a quiet environment that is very relaxing to you. So it can be a dark room if you, at that moment, crave a dark room. It could be with light music. It could be with no music. It could be with the sound of rain. It doesn't matter. It could be light chatter in the background. It could be all kinds of different things. Totally quiet room with earplugs in. Doesn't really matter. You'll know over time what works for you. What works for me is a dark room laying mostly on my back. And then you take with you, before you start this, either a program that you're going to write things down in, like your phone or a laptop, and open up a screen to a blank notepad, and then, or a piece of paper and a pencil that's blank. And you sit there and you try not to think of anything. And this is a skill in itself. It takes a little while to kind of figure out. It's all you do is, as you think of something, you realize, oh, I'm thinking of something again. Let's not think of anything. And you'll see how thoughts connect and connect and connect and connect. And the next thing you know, you're thinking about how it's probably your sister's fault that the cat escaped from the house and got run over when you were 6. And maybe that's why you got in trouble in your homeroom later on that day, because you were really mad at your sister. And then, gosh, they had pizza like that day at that school. It was so good, and maybe we'll have pizza tonight and see how it goes, like on and on and on, right? So when you notice that you're doing that, you try to don't try too hard, because now you're trying again, but you kind of let that go and keep trying to not think of anything. But don't try too hard. You just because now you're trying again, and now you're active. You want to be passive and just not be thinking of anything, and kind of let go and let go and let go and let go of that thought and let go of that thought. And that's why they say, focus on the breath, because that's something you're always doing, and it's you. So just, relax and focus on your breath. But the other way is, because some people have trouble with the breath, and they spend forever trying to focus on their breath. And then they realize, oh, if I hold a trinket in my hand, I could focus on that. And that worked. And they spent 10 years focusing on the breath instead of something that actually worked for them. It's just the breath just happens to be a common one to start off with. And then you can change it from there. It's not a big deal. And then eventually you learn that it's not really anything. It's just focusing on not focusing. Because the whole point is, what you're trying to do is get to the point where you're not thinking of anything, right? And you'll have a moment, an extended moment, where you'll suddenly feel very relaxed and just chilled out, and you're not really thinking of anything, right? And what I call that is the moment when the water gets smooth. So if you're at a lake, all of a sudden the surface of the pond, the lake, gets smooth because there's no wind stirring it up. You're no longer looking at a bubbling stream. The bubbling stream is just the constant thought. I should do this. I need to be doing that. Past, future, right? And then it's just, and you are just laying there or sitting there, whatever you want to do. See, if you're sitting upright and it kind of hurts a little bit, you're so focused on sitting perfectly. You're sitting in a group. You're wondering, what is everybody else doing? So you don't need to do all that. You can just be by yourself. And when you have a moment where everything's calm and quiet, you're most of the way there. Supposedly what is happening is your brain waves are changing state from active to passive. And now you're turning on the point where you can actually listen to your subconscious boss. And what you'll notice is you'll have a recurring thought of, you kind of ask yourself, I wonder what's today going to look like? And then your brain will say, oh, you've got this meeting at 8 p.m. and at 8 p.m. at 8 a.m. and also you've got, this mic works better like this, and also you've got you want to run this afternoon, and also you want to, what's something else? Oh, your bike's got a flat tire. You need to change your bike tire. And these things keep coming up. And the reason they keep coming up is because you haven't figured them out yet. The reason your brain keeps, popping them up. And now you can't move forward on other things until you take care of these thoughts. So then You visualize and maybe write down on paper those things. Okay? Meeting at 8 o'clock. Well, why does that keep popping up in your brain? You've got this meeting at 8 o'clock. It's because you're not really prepared for it. Somebody's going to be there that you're intimidated by or you want to impress. You need to read something before you go to the meeting. If you ask yourself, if you have a little bit of insight, that's why it's called insight meditation. If you ask yourself, why is this thing keep popping up in my mind? This thing I want to, my subconscious won't let go. When I try to still the water's still, oh, here's a wave. What is this? Right? That's the whole point of getting still first. And because then you'll be able to see the important waves. And then you say, oh, well, for this meeting, I'll feel a whole lot better. How would this go? How would this go right? How would this go well? Visualize that. And then you say, oh, well, I need to read that one thing, that email that had an attachment. You go, okay, write that down. Read email for attachment. Attachment and email for the meeting. And you go, okay, now this bike tire that I need to change, right? That's a whole lot of things going on right there. So why does it keep bothering you? You're like, well, actually, I don't know. It's always what it is you don't know something, right? Because if you already knew all the details of something, your subconscious wouldn't be bothering you. That's the thing. You don't know what's in that email attachment, right? So it's the unknown. And you don't know where your a spare tube is and what caused the flat in the first place. That's why changing the tire is bothering you, and that's why it's taking up brain cycles that you could be using on something else. And then you say, what was the thing? You're going to run this evening, and you're kind of like, well, what does a successful run this evening look like? And then you go, I don't know. Should I run after dinner or before dinner? And then you go, there's your problem. Or maybe you don't know what the weather's going to be like. Well, there's your problem. So you say, look at the weather report. Now I know exactly what the weather's going to be like. Or you get down to you need to decide if you're going to run before or after dinner. Text your spouse or somebody and say, hey, what is the plans for tonight? And then say, okay, I am going to run before dinner. Cool? And they say, cool. Boom, problem solved. That one's gone. Now you no longer have that in your brain. And you'll notice that after you take care of those very few things. See, we just did this in, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? After you take care of those very few things in your mind, right, you get rid of the don't know parts, the unknown parts of the things that pop up that create waves in your subconscious, then, where your subconscious interrupts your conscious, now all of a sudden, you can be relaxed for pretty much the rest of the day. And I guess you could do it again like that afternoon. You could sit down for 10, 15 minutes and practice this routine again. And then you carry that piece of paper with you for the rest of the day and make sure that those things that you're going to do get done. And now you've created a really good habit that is repeatable. And you could keep those pieces of paper to kind of see your progress over time. It's really nice. Take a picture of them with your phone and keep them. So that is actually the basics of meditation. Oh, I'm going over the Navasota River. I'm running a little bit high today. Oh, we're going down the one lane. All right, now, how to do a proper pull-up. So I was watching some videos of somebody doing some pull-ups, and it pissed me off because they're like, look at this person, look how awesome they are. Look at all these pull-ups they can do in a row. They can do like 30 pull-ups in a row. The title of the video was like, amazing girl or guy, whatever it was. This is like a couple weeks ago. Watch them do 30 pull-ups, 50 pull-ups without stopping. Wow, amazing. Woman destroys pull-up bar. I hate that when they say destroys. It makes me so aggravated. I'm like, you did not destroy anything. You know what destroy means? But anyway, the thing is a pull-up is not a pull-up unless you extend your arms all the way. So this person would come down to maybe their arm is at a 90-degree angle instead of a 180 degree. 180 degree is totally straight. Arms lock out all the way to flat. you're hanging completely down. So it's your hands that are holding you onto the bar. No bicep activation or anything. That is down. And then up is your chin above the bar level. Now, if you were doing a military test, a true physical fitness test, it's palms forward, lock out all the way on the way down, or they don't count it. And now you've wasted, if you only go most of the way down, you've wasted a rep, which wears you out because you've done almost a full rep, but it didn't even count. And yeah, that's how you do it. And now what you'll find out is like, well, you know, if I hang all the way down, well, I'm getting a rest. And it's like, no, you're not. You're not getting a rest whatsoever. If you hang all the way down, the effort it takes to go from completely straight arm to you know, just a tenth of the way up is really difficult. So the rest you might gain from hanging for a second is completely undone by the effort it takes to go from a 180 degree angle to lifting to get going on the pull-up whatsoever. Now, what I've noticed, what's nice is a gizmo or gadget, whatever you can find to keep your feet from swinging all over the place. You can hang a belt with a weight from your feet or something like that, or you can use this pull-up assist thing and only add a couple pounds to it, and then keep your feet on it, and then that'll keep your legs straight. But whatever, that doesn't matter. That's not the point. Bicep curls are the same thing. If you don't extend your arm all the way out, then you're not activating the full length of the muscle whenever you begin another curl. It's always like that for all of them. And be hardcore. You deserve it. We expect the best from you. You can do it. All right, that is it. And I got to get back to doing my stuff. Here we go. Out, bang. All right. Okay. My gosh. I stopped that recording and thought, you know, now's a good time to actually meditate. I'm driving. I'm not really doing anything. And I can just kind of mentally try to mentally check out and see what pops up. And within like 5 minutes, I was like, oh, the whole thing that I was wanting to say during that previous recording, the whole point of pull-ups, one of my rant about how to do a pull-up right is because I can finally do a pull-up right again. Like I said earlier, it's been a year to the day, pretty much. I'm trying to remember, it doesn't matter what the exact date is, that I broke my arm, and in the emergency room they said I'd never be able to straighten out my arm ever again. And they're still kind of right. I still can't get my left arm 100% straight. I've got about a few degrees, like, oh, now it's catching, pop, where I can't get it completely straight. But it is straight enough. For months, if I tried to do a pull-up, well, one, I couldn't do anything, and then I could kind of start doing it, but I was mostly using my right arm, and my left arm would not straighten all the way out. So one arm was definitely shorter than the other because it wouldn't straighten out. My left arm was shorter, so my pull-ups were all kind of weird. And it's been a while. I haven't tried to do pull-ups for a few months maybe. But I've noticed swimming that my left arm is getting straighter at the arm extension ahead of my head and on the push-off of the wall. And then I was like, that's interesting, just kind of observing. And then yesterday I was doing pull-ups, and it hit me. My arm is completely straight. Well, straight enough. When I hang down, it's pretty freaking straight. And I'm like, whoa, holy cow. That is progress. So I've overcome the major problem with that was bothering me. There's somebody on horseback. We are in Texas. Somebody on horseback just crossed the street. We're in Madisonville, Texas. And I can now do correct pull-ups again. And I know what correct pull-ups are, and that's why I went on my rant about them and how great that is. So that's the value of meditation right there, is it allowed me to go back and remember the important thing that I wanted to say in the first place. And it feels so good to be able to do a correct pull-up again. So nice. So nice. All right, I think that was it. Okay, out, bang.
That girl is a real cloud free. I said cloud. You said cloud, please.
All right, I am in the car with my beautiful triathlete wife, right? Kai, you're not my triathlete wife. You're somebody else. And then my hyperactive son. So, what is on my head? Oh my God. Anyway, we're going to. They challenged me. We were listening to On Air with Ella podcast, which is a health and fitness podcast, and she was talking about fasting, and I said I could fast, and then Emily said, "No way." Well, and then Kai was like, "What is fasting?" And then, she was saying 3 days, and I said I fasted before to have a colonoscopy twice or three. I don't know how many have I had, 2 at least.
At least 2 or 3.
And
got one coming up.
Okay, and then Emily said about that.
I said, Kai, you don't want to be around Dad if he's fasting for very long because you get so freaking cranky.
Cannibal.
And then, well, you said that didn't even really count because it was like 12 hours. Was it a day?
Started the night before. Yeah.
So it's not even a full day.
No.
Yeah. Well, and Kai didn't know what fasting was
And she
for
wanted to explain.
20 minutes, and she never said. You just assume that people know what that is, right? But so Kai's 12, he doesn't know what that is. And then when I told him what it was, you should have seen the look on his face.
He's eating chips.
Yeah, Kai was eating Funyuns. And the look on his face was like, why would you do that? That sounds insane. And definitely kids, I don't think kids should ever fast. You're not done growing yet. There's a whole bunch of things, like, we're not getting to that at all. There's a million reasons why you would never fast. And so, like, one was like, not even pregnant women, but women that have
just
given birth. It's been 9 months, but like still your sleep is all off. All kinds of crazy stuff. There's no reason to. So we're doing a bet that I could fast for a day.
Oh,
right?
Is that what you said? I didn't think you put a time limit on it. You just said you could fast.
Well, gosh, I mean, you go like 3 days. That's like insane. That's like medically, like, that's you need medical supervision. So. And that's not even, probably not even smart. But I said I could fast for a day, and you said no way. So every hour, so this was the bet. Every hour.
You're still going to work out while this
I don't know, probably not.
Oh, you can't change it. You can't mess up your workouts, according to you.
Quit trying to undo it.
No, I just, so we're
Quit trying to change the rules.
Since you ate something.
Yeah, and you're grumpy, and I'm happy.
I'm not grumpy.
Yeah. So that shows when you fast, other people get grumpy in my family. So...
Yeah. We've been around you when you don't eat, and it's not fun.
Okay.
It's not fun because he starts eating chairs.
But I have discipline.
Okay.
At least he doesn't eat the.
And
so
this is well. Okay, you say it.
So I said, what do Kai and I get when you crack or whatever? Because it's gonna happen.
Well, eventually, or you die.
And your response was, for every hour that you are able to fast, Kai and I have to say that you're the best.
At everything.
At whatever. At everything.
Yeah.
And then,
you have to mean it.
Okay. And then I said, and what do Kai and I get when you crack? And you were like, I don't know. And I said, you have to tell us that we rule the world. Me and Kai are awesome.
And that I'm completely wrong.
And we were right, and you were wrong.
Yeah. So we're going to have updates for the rest of the podcast to see how far I can go.
And you have to listen to the whole Weekend CD.
What the hell is that?
Starboy.
Stat Boy?
That is not. That is one
So when you look at the
Starboy
album cover, his head covers up the right hand leg of the R, so it looks like Stat Boy. Almost like he's got staph infection. Okay. Staph Boy.
Okay, so
I'm doing great.
Kind of prepared for.
I am 50 minutes in, so when I can, I'll record Emily and Kai telling me that I'm great.
Yep, that's great.
And I'll give an update.
We're also going to record when the challenge is over, as you're telling us all of that, and when we start listening.
I got a big meeting at work tomorrow morning too. It's going to be rough.
Yeah, who's going to monitor you when we're not around?
I'll tell you if I quit.
I'll text Marie.
No, don't tell her.
I'm gonna tell.
I don't need the office knowing that I'm
you.
not eating.
I don't trust you. Why? They think you do weird stuff all the time.
That-
You're that guy.
I know, but still, I don't need that kind of drama.
That guy is out of work.
I'm that guy at work, Kai.
So at night, are we gonna have to set up a wire in the kitchen or something that keeps the pantry closed? An alarm will go off if Daddy
Like
gets into it, Kai?
Hey, listen, podcast friends. When my brother and I were younger, we had a problem with sneaking down the stairs. We lived upstairs. My parents' bedroom was downstairs. And my brother and I would sneak down the stairs in the middle of the night to look under the Christmas tree. This is your Christmas theme for this podcast. So look under the Christmas tree to see if there was any presents. And my parents' bedroom was kind of shared a wall with the stairwell, so I think they could probably hear us a little bit. And we were kind of youngish, so probably weren't all that smart. And then over the years, something finally happened where my brother woke me up at like 2 a.m. or something like that. And he said, come on, let's go downstairs and go look. And I go, okay. So we start walking down the stairs and we get halfway down the stairs, almost most of the way down the stairs. And all of a sudden there was the loudest crash banging you've ever heard. And it was so out of nowhere. It was almost like a ghost, like attacked us or something. It was so crazy. And we ran upstairs, and then we both went under the covers, and we had bedrooms that were across a little hallway from each other, and we could, if I sat up, I could look and see him sitting in bed, and if he, same thing. So our feet faced each other, and I remember us sitting up and looking at each other like, what in the world was that? And then after a few minutes, my dad came upstairs, and he was like, what are you boys doing? We were like, nothing. We were like, what was that, Dad? Because honestly, we didn't know what it was, but we trying to we had nothing to do with it, which we weren't positive about yet. And then so he goes back downstairs. So like a half an hour to an hour later, Mike and I, my brother's name's Mike. We started going downstairs again, and this time my brother brought a flashlight or something like that. And with a flashlight, he goes, Brett, look. And there was a fishing line across the stairwell and then tied to a banister. And then the other end of it was tied to camping pots and pans, those metal pots and pans you take when you go camping. Look at all the buzz.
Did we ever do this for Kai?
Look at all those buzzards all over that phone pole. Or that.
Must be a dead body.
Oh my God, it's covered in them. And then, those pans were hanging off the edge of a credenza is what they called it. Some cabinets in the front of our house, which had a hard tile floor. And so when you trip the wire, so if you trip the wire, it would pull just a touch to the fishing line would pull the pots and pans off, and then they would come crashing to the floor. And then my brother and I, my brother shined the flashlight a little bit more around the edge of that room, and we could see the head, my dad's head, kind of poking out just a little bit in his Vietnam sleeping bag. Well, he got it surplus it was a Korean sleeping bag, but his Vietnam era sleeping bag. And my dad went to Vietnam. He was a Navy Seabee, which is they were in the trenches and stuff like that with the Marines taking hills and stuff in Vietnam. So all this tripwire, booby trap, all this crazy crap. My dad was reliving Vietnam in his drab olive mummy bag out there, sleeping on the living room floor, just waiting to catch me and my brother, we were the Viet Cong. He was waiting to catch us, and then so that night with our flashlights, we just looked we could kind of see the my parents put stuff where we could kind of see it from there. If you had flashlights, you could see all the way across the house and kind of see, but we couldn't get up close because it was too dangerous. My dad was there.
And then y'all just snuck back upstairs.
And then we just snuck back upstairs. And then my brother and I, we were upstairs talking. We're like, God, Dad is insane.
That's when y'all figured that out? Wow.
Yeah, my dad's a little nuts.
So what happened the next day? Did your parents say anything about the noise?
I don't remember now, but I'm sure it's just like us now when we tease either Kai or his cousins about something they did. And we're like, whoa, that sure was a weird sound last night with those pots and pans crashing. What was that? And then...
Like when y'all banged on John's windows
and then
took off.
Mike and I were probably like, oh, I don't know. That was so weird. And my parents probably said, yeah, well, I think I heard footsteps, like little footsteps running back up in the bed. And next time we hang out with my parents, you got to ask them about that. Because that's a story that they never talk about, which I think they've just forgotten how silly all that was. Okay, so no booby traps. Well, I mean, you can do whatever you want. I'm gonna win. I've got discipline.
Whatever.
Okay, if I make it, but if I make it to one day, then I win. It's one day.
Of no eating?
No eating. One day. You said I couldn't even make it at all.
So the pretzels was your last meal? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, my last meal was pretzels
Hope it was good.
and carrots. I hope it was good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get off. I'm gonna get off the mic now so that we have lots of
Save your
updates.
energy.
Look, we're almost at an hour.
We are not in an hour.
Look, since I ate, we stopped for gas over an hour ago. Yes,
And then your last
See?
snack was like
The
10
denial.
minutes ago.
is already
You've been eating. You were
No.
eating. I did not. You were
I
still
started it.
eating. Okay, whatever. We can count. That's great.
Okay, good. Get ready for your first apology. We'll be back in a minute.
Oh my God.
Y'all are weird.
All right, we're back. It has been 1 hour since I started. I'm ready for my apology.
Daddy, you're the best. You rule. Can't believe you've made it an hour. Woo!
Oh, you're making bowing motions?
Yep.
Kai?
You're cool.
And you had
You're the best.
I'm the best.
Say it. That's
You're
what we
the
agreed.
best.
And that you were wrong.
And that I was
For the
right.
first time.
For one.
So
Oh,
far.
so far, right? You got all these little qualifiers in there. Kai had a question. What was your question, Kai?
Are you not gonna go like swim in the morning?
I'm going to see how I feel.
No, you can't change anything that you do. You have to do the same thing you
Oh,
normally do.
no.
Go
No.
swim for an hour,
It's, you do not want to,
run and bike. Yeah,
no,
that's
you
all
don't
I'm
want to
saying.
work out
No,
and
you said
fast.
You just wouldn't eat for...
Yeah. No, guys, you don't fast and work out like
I
5
know that,
hours.
but that's your normal
No,
day.
that's not. Don't try to change the rules,
It's
babe.
not normal now, Mom. Gosh.
See, we're already running into problems.
Let's call Ella and ask her if that's okay.
No, you
for
do
to
not.
work
She
out.
said on her thing, if you were listening, to not work out.
Listened. Yes, I listened for
Yeah.
a long
I
time.
Okay.
listen better. And I
Okay,
don't know what
anyway,
it is.
so
Y'all-
1 hour down.
Quit talking over each other.
What?
1 hour down, everything's going smoothly.
Here we go.
So far.
So far, so good.
Okay.
Kai, what do you want for dinner?
Oh, I like some spaghetti.
Is that what
Yeah?
sounds good?
Why don't you shove it in your mouths?
Like, Mom, really?
What about Freebird?
I like that. Oh, Mom, really? What?
How about Freebird?
Y'all are gonna,
Does that
on
sound good?
purpose, try to make me hungry? This is.
No, that sounds good.
Hold on, I'm trying to have a
Brownie.
moment
Ooh, that's
ourselves
brownies.
with the podcast audience over here. This is the family I live with. This is why I haven't qualified for Kona.
Excuse me?
Is this
Excuse me?
this undermining all my potential? Ow, Kai!
Really have some spaghetti?
If we have
Yes,
it,
you can have
so we
spaghetti.
have it
All right, I'll be back in another hour
You need-
when I continue
when we're
on.
done, you can take back what you just said. Because that's BS.
I know, I was being silly.
That's not funny.
What is beef?
Oh, now you're serious. Now,
What? That was hurtful.
no.
What you said.
Why are you
was
laughing
very
then?
hurtful.
Okay, bye. All right, it's been another hour. I'm starting to get hungry.
Let's go, champ! Go, daddy! Woohoo!
Ow! Don't attack me, dog. Dog's
Don't
so
take Zoe's bone either, daddy. You cannot eat rawhide.
Okay, so what are y'all gonna do to eat?
I'm not sure yet.
On spaghetti.
Spaghetti?
The dogs are both.
I'm gonna eat discipline.
Okay.
Tastes like glory.
You can have some of my bone.
I'm getting tired and I'm getting hungry already though.
Oh, boy.
Not really, but
So
a little
you're
bit.
getting cranky?
Oh, I did
Is that
make
what you're saying?
no.
Wait
So
a minute.
I'm gonna have a
Are you
coffee.
able to drink this? This doesn't really count.
That's a diet Pepsi.
Diet.
Diet has 0 calories. No, wait, Emily. I'm not in a Siberian gulag.
Kai is dressed in a dog blanket and he's laying on top of Kona. Yeah, God.
I am cold
You say
because it's freaking cold outside. This is the same day that here in Texas it got down to 22 degrees.
And so you can conserve conserve your energy. Kind of unloaded the whole car by herself, by the way. You're welcome.
Okay.
At least
That's
you put
not an.
pants on.
Yeah. I've been wearing shorts and flip flops.
I saw. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. I saw really cool Magnus. Okay.
Okay, signing off. Let's go, champ. Woo!
Oh, great. This is my life.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Pick me up at the airport. All right, it's been another hour, baby.
What's up? How's it going over there?
I'm doing great. It's been another hour. So what do you say?
You're the best, Daddy. Good job.
Kai?
Daddy.
You're great.
I'm great.
Suji's not impressed. Then.
Our cat is not impressed. He's like, talk to me when you've lived on the street, man.
Got my butt facing you, Daddy.
I'm facing my butt towards you to show you how much I don't respect you.
Yeah. He attempted to go out for 2 seconds and he ran back.
We left the door open by accident.
Then you realized how cold it was.
It's from your low blood sugar. See, people that eat make bad decisions. That was your fault.
People that eat make bad decisions.
It's me not eating. I'm not the one that left the door open. See how already I'm better?
That's who left the door open.
Hey.
Hey. All right. Okay.
Hey. All right, Daddy.
Update in another hour. I'm doing it. Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Are we here? Let me adjust the microphone. Hello. Hello. All right. What about now? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. We are back. I'm in the ZenTri mobile studios. Well, that fasting experiment was both a success and a failure. If you learn something, then it's not entirely a failure. You move on. And what did I learn? Fasting sucks. I was doing just fine, and then the second half of the fasting experiment went into a full work day. After exercise is a great habit, especially when you can't break the habit. You want to keep going. And so I biked Monday morning for an hour. I even posted the workout. I tweeted it, Zen Triathlon on Twitter nets. And it takes forever to get going, and you feel kind of sluggish and not all that great. And then, by the end of the workout, yeah, you're doing okay. Everything's turned on, activated, and you're doing fine. But it's just not ideal, and that's okay. I didn't bonk. That's the whole thing. If there's a thing I learned that you can bonk, and actually you can train yourself to survive the bonk. And the more often you do it, you can actually the bonk becomes less severe. Your body quits overreacting to it, and your mind quits overreacting and going, "Oh my God, I got to stop." You just slow down, and then after a little while, your body kicks in its recovery systems and its alternate energy systems, and you can keep going just almost as good as you were before, just no super high end kind of stuff. But and so I would bonk it 20 minutes in, bonk at 30 minutes in, bonk at 45 minutes in on no fuel, and then bonk never. And each time the bonk would get less and less noticeable. This was a while back. I figured this out, that if you start to bonk, you because there's this thing like, once you bonk, it's over. No, it's not over. Once you start to bonk, slow way down, and then you can keep going after 15-20 minutes. But anyway, you actually feel okay and can keep going. But I had a meeting at 8:30 a.m. on Monday morning, and I survived through that, but I noticed I was just sleepy, and I wasn't spacey, but I get called to the carpet, and I have to report on things. And so I'm sitting there going, well, we did this and we did that, and I'm just speaking more slowly than usual, and taking a little bit longer to access memory banks and go, yeah, we did this and we did that, and to answer questions. And I only have to talk for about 10 minutes. But then it's what we did over the past 2 weeks at my job. And I'm in charge of some people in a big system. And so I have to talk about, what we did and all that. Major things that happened and things that are going to happen. The meetings kind of suck, but also they're kind of good. And the next thing was by lunchtime, I'm just kind of like a zombie, and so it's more of a timing thing. I was sitting there thinking, if I didn't schedule this half on a weekend and half on a work day, maybe either in the entire weekend or the entire work day, where I just sleep, and then don't try to work out, just sleep. But I'm not sure about if the whole fasting thing is useful. It's just more like bonking is useful, allowing yourself to bonk on rare occasion, and then be used to. It's kind of like running downhill. You don't have to run downhill all the time to make your legs tough. You just kind of let yourself run out of glucose, blood sugar, carbohydrate stores on rare occasion, and then access the fat stores system. So it's not just a shock to the system when you do it, and then the system's more ready and available all the time. But anyway, so I made it till 5 o'clock, and I was grumpy and tired, and Emily and Kyle were like, "Are we going to record more? You did it." And coffee, wrong pipe. And I said, "No, I'm not in the mood. I'm just not in the freaking mood." And now this is like 2-3 days later, 2.5 days later, and I'm just now finally recovering energy-wise from not eating for a day. And it's been sucky, man. It's just been sucky. And so my result analysis is either thumbs down or thumbs down on the way I did it. I had to start. The past 2 days, I've had to miss workouts and stuff because I just didn't have the energy, and it's just been crappy. But aside from that, I would get on the bike. Like last night, I got on the bike, and then after 2 minutes, I quit. I'm just like, I don't have the energy. It's more I need to sleep instead. Yesterday morning, I got up, got ready to work out, and then just needed to sleep. I haven't swam since then, and it just sucks. But the upside is this morning I finally got my energy back. Oh, and I've started to eat green smoothies. And again, because my weight's going up as I'm healing my plantar fasciitis, I'm exercising less. And I've gained 10 pounds, 12 pounds, something like that. And I know a sure way to bring that weight back down is to start eating green smoothies again. Actually, I like to call them blue smoothies because I put blueberries in. And, you got to kind of own that a little bit. And when I eat green smoothies, when I eat 2 leaves of kale a day mixed into some kind of smoothie, that's not too high in sugar. It's just sweet enough to tolerate, or you get used to it. Then man, my weight starts going down because I'm so full of fiber and whatever. And we'll get into smoothies on the next episode about what I'm doing. But that brings your weight down so fast and makes you feel good. I noticed yesterday was day 1 of reintroducing proper green smoothies mixed in a Vitamix and stuff into my day. I make a big one and then I drink it over the day, and I'll tell you how I do that next episode. I noticed I wasn't going for the coffee pot anywhere near as much as before. I just didn't even think of it. I just had energy, and it's lots to do with blueberries, man. Blueberries are so freaking good for you and give you energy, and it's full of vitamins. It's actually kind of what energizes you is what you're missing. Whatever you're missing is good. So if you're topped off on greens, then more greens isn't going to help. But if you're not getting many berries and stuff like that, maybe blueberries are what you need. Or cranberries. Oh my God, those are so good. You can throw those in a smoothie. Talk about a killer flavor. Anyway, I need to go in and, I got one more thing, but I'll talk about it in a second. All right, we're back. Okay, the last thing I wanted to say is my energy levels are back up, and to avoid re-injuring my plantar fasciitis, I'm avoiding biking and running, but I've replaced it with weightlifting. If you got the habit, man, you don't want to lose the habit. So you need to do something. That's the worst thing, is to lose the habit. The habit of exercising is the hardest thing to gain. So I was lifting free weights. I've been lifting free weights a lot lately, which we'll talk more about next episode, what I'm doing and stuff, because I found a nice routine that's good for triathletes again. and with little modifications from last time. And but this morning I woke up Kai by lifting free weights in his room. So it's time for him to wake up anyway. So I walk into his room with 2 dogs. One of them's 100 pounds, the other one's 50 pounds. And I start lifting weights, free weights, overhead press with dumbbells in his room. And the dogs start jumping around. They're getting all excited, jumping on his bed, jumping down. And Kai's yelling, "Stop, Dad, stop." And I'm like, "Lift 1, lift 2, 1 broken arm, 2 broken arm." And he's like, "Oh my God, Dad, cut it out." But then he starts kind of liking it. And he's watching me, and what I'm doing is setting the example of exercising in the morning, that it's okay to lift weights, and I'm making the day fun. And also, I was thinking long term, I'm wanting him to move out of the house when he's able to. It's like, I need to go to college, or I need to get a job and move out of here because Dad is insane. It's hard to leave home unless you've got reasons that you start adding up, and it's like, man, Dad's going to keep driving me crazy if I keep staying around here. And I know that's way down the line, but you know, you got to start planting those seeds early. And then he got up and got all excited and started picking up some of the weights with me. You know, he's like, "Holy cow, that's heavy," you know. And it wasn't really, it was just 25 pounds, but he's little. So the fun thing is, I was thinking, waking up your kid by lifting weights in their room. I'm definitely probably never going to do that again, but you know, just doing it once to show what's possible, and getting your day kicked off in a good mood is kind of funny. Okay, wherever I left off was non-consequential, because now I am leaving the pool with my rock star training buddy, Kai.
What's up?
Say it again.
What's up?
Hashtag Go Kai on Twitter and maybe the Instagrams. But anyway, I just had one of the most epic swim workouts because it went by really fast. And I did an hour, and I didn't know where the time went. Like, it just went by so fast. So I want to explain how I did it so that you can do the same thing and make your swim workouts go by really fast while getting in an hours-long swim. And it's really cool. So first, you need toys. Toys keep the brain entertained. And the toys I used today was this, the most important one that's new is this Finis, F-I-N-I-S, Finis. God, it's like a pull buoy axis, I think it's called, pull axis, something like that. But anyway, it's a pull buoy that goes between your legs, but it's got 2 holes in it that also you can put your ankles in and swim with it, so it's holding up your ankles instead of between your thighs. And crazily enough, you can also hold it in your hands if you wanted to. It works as a pull buoy too, but you can also hold it in your hands pretty easily and use it as a kickboard. So with one, $20, $30 gadget, it's 3 things. So it's huge bonus right there. So I had that, and then I had paddles, and again, Finis makes a really good. Emily just sent me a text message on my Sunto. Let's see. She's got veggie chili, waiting for us when we get home. So I've got Finis paddles, hand paddles, the ones with no straps. They're strapless, and I love those. I've talked about them plenty now lately. And then a drag chute, and I don't remember if it was Speedo or Finis, but I've got the bigger drag chute. And I think that's all the toys that I used. And the coolest thing about those is you can combine them. So you've got pull buoy or ankle buoy, whatever, with no paddles, with paddles, with no drag chute, or with drag chute, with drag chute and no paddles, with drag chute and paddles. And so you have all these different combinations of stuff. But what I did was, first off, of course, doing just pull buoy or ankles, nothing else. And that sets you up for a nice clean stroke. 400 yards. And then 100 yards, just regular freestyle after that. And then 50 yards kick. And what I did, I just kept doing that. I kept doing 400 yards of some kind of toy, and then 100 yards plain freestyle, and then 50 yards kick, over and over and over again. And what was cool was the 400 yards was always different. It was always some other thing. And I'm wearing the Sunto Spartan Ultra, and it says your distance that you've been swimming on it. And so I would just go, okay, let's go another 400 yards with this. So like one time I would do drag shoot and pull buoy or ankle buoy, and another time I would do just paddles, and another time I would do I'm trying to think, just ankle buoy and drag shoot. That's a fun combination for real. And so I don't remember how many I did, maybe 5. Anyway, I did over 3,500 yards or something like that. And the time absolutely flew by. I've never had a swim practice go by that fast. And it was just enough variation to give you something to keep the mind entertained. And you just switch as fast as you can between things and just keep on going. So that was really cool. And also, I want to go ahead and wrap up the show now with this part of the training log. And say that I switched. This is a plantar fasciitis recovery tip. You're starting to get plantar fasciitis, and you're like, oh man. Well, one, you got to be really careful. The bike may be making it worse, and it definitely does for me. And I put these Harrier VP giant flat pedals. They're super thin, but they're real big. They're awesome, and they're really lightweight too. Put them on my tri-bike. It looks crazy. Have a Trek Speed concept with big flat pedals on it, but the flat pedals look real high tech. So as long as everything looks high tech, it all matches. It's pretty neat. And then I put on running shoes, and I basically pedaled with my heels instead of my forefoot. Or as much as I looked down, it really wasn't my heels. It was more like way back midfoot, very much midfoot. But you can't get that with clipless bike shoes. You can't get those cleats back very far. And that's what causes strain on your plantar fasciitis, and it just keeps irritating. And I did this thing with the pedals. Now the thing is if you go flat pedals and you want to move way forward on those pedals so that the pedals are way back on your foot so they don't irritate your plantar fasciitis. And by the way, this really worked. It was awesome. Had a great workout, no hint of plantar fasciitis strain, anything like that, and put out like great watts. Towards the end, I was doing 350, maybe 400 watts of on an interval. Felt nothing in the plantar fasciitis, and it felt great to be able to do a hard interval like that after months of pedaling easy, trying not to irritate the plantar fasciitis, but still kind of irritating it just a little bit, because the cleats are so far forward, But to get if you're going to try to get your feet further forward on the pedals, you need to drop and move forward your saddle quite a bit. I dropped mine probably a couple centimeters and then pushed it forward a couple centimeters. And that really moved me forward on the saddle and moved me forward over the cleats. So basically, the position was exactly the same. And then you think, oh, am I going to lose all kinds of power because I'm not using my calves as much? I'm just using my heels. And no. Once I got used to the position, after 10, 15 minutes of pedaling like that, settled in, and then all of a sudden I was running or biking same watts or more watts than usual. So there you go. And then on top of that, it made me think, I did the same thing. I went out running, and on purpose, I was heel striking and trying not to use my forefoot at all. And this is all plantar fasciitis tips, by the way. I would not recommend this if you don't have any plantar fasciitis problems, because landing on your heel on purpose all the time, I could tell if I did that fast or a lot, then I could tell it was starting, or did it suddenly for all my mileage and stuff, that it would start irritating my knees. That slamming into the knees is not good. And but anyway, it worked. I got in a 6-mile run with just the slightest twinge of plantar fasciitis pain, and that's because I wasn't doing that kind of running at first. I was running like I normally do, and I got a little plantar fasciitis pain, and then I switched about 2 miles in, maybe 3 miles in. I go, I'm going to try running like exclusively, like purposefully try to run on my heels. And it was awkward at first, but then once I, like the bike, once I settled in on the form, I was like, oh, this isn't that bad. I got it down, you know. But again, you know, you gotta watch out for the knees. So take this with a grain of salt. And I was sitting there running going, you know what? I'm actually really enjoying this, you know, but I'm not using any calf muscles, because that's what happens with plantar fasciitis. Your calves get just chronically contracted, and it's pulling on your plantar fasciitis tendon, and that gets inflamed, and then your calves just never really let go, and because they're chronically pumped, you know, and that shortens everything, and now your plantar fasciitis is a mess, and so, and inflamed, and it just doesn't ever want to go down. And then I thought, wait a minute, the fastest runners in the world for long distance are these Kenyan guys and Ethiopian guys that you can see there's a guy in my neighborhood that's built exactly like one of them. In fact, I know 2 guys, black guys, that have this build, and they have no calf muscles. I mean, they're just like sticks, and they're not using their calves at all because they don't have any. So it just goes to show you that actually you really don't need your calves very much to be a great long distance runner. And then the other thing is, those of you that are long-term listeners of the show know that I had a greyhound for a long time, and Roxy, the awesome greyhound, and we got her as a puppy. So had her for 12, 13 years. And, you know, greyhounds run 40-something miles an hour. They're just incredible runners. And all dogs are like this, actually, but greyhounds are particularly good examples of this. They've got big butt muscles, and then as it goes down the thigh, it gets smaller and smaller, and then the lower half of the leg is like twigs. There's nothing there, and they're incredibly fast. So you don't really need to be engaging your calves to be a great runner, except I guess if you're running hard uphill, it gives you an extra little bit of push. But I was sitting there running along going, is this bad, you know, for me not to be using my calves? And then I thought, wait a minute. The best runners in the world physically can't use their calves. Now, sprinters can. So Usain Bolt, because that's for acceleration, all right? But once you're up to speed, you're just pogoing. You're just bouncing along. And the less weight and the less everything you have at the end of your leg, the better you are. And I thought, you know, the best runners in the world don't use their calves, then I don't really need to worry about it that much. And get over it. Just be careful running with your form like that. Now, in cycling, I think people say you use your calves, but maybe that's more for accelerations and sprints and not so much for just constant endurance speed like what we do in long-distance triathlon. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I'd have to prove it to myself with all my gadgets. Anyway, that's it. I think next episode I might talk about the Zen concept of the hungry ghost, and also more green smoothie fun, maybe. We'll talk about it. All right, everybody stay safe out there. Work the uphills, cruise the downhills, and keep the rubber side down. Hey, Kai, say out.
Out!
All right, out.